Hello there, everybody. It's me, Garrett Kidney, the co-host of You've Got to Be Kidding Me on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And I am Liam Jones, my full name, and I'm also a part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network as a co-host for You've Got to Be Kidding Me.
We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. We cover all the drama, all the matches, all the Vince Russo nonsense you could ever want in your life.
Have you heard of TNA? I bet you have, but would it be funnier if two people made jokes over it the whole time? Probably.
So if that sounds like fun to you, check it out on this very Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and Liam will do bits and whatnot.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
If this story was any good, maybe you people would understand it. You don't even understand the story. It goes over everybody's head. How great can it be? Maybe they need to talk more during these matches.
And Rich Crage.
This is my entire life's goal, is to be a WWE superstar, and now I am the NXT Women's Champion.
You can take that. If you want that, great. Good for you. I want MJF talking about getting roadhead. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want out of my wrestling. Call me old-fashioned, Joe.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? It is WrestleMania Weekend, baby. Let's go.
I love the intro as you making fun of those terrible Roxanne Perez promos.
And then the most terrible one was this week. I can't wait to talk about that promo. God. The most terrible thing. Not even promo, package, story. I cannot wait. We will get to that when we talk about NXT thing. I'm so glad you saw what I do not think is getting enough love isn't the right scorn, I guess, or enough attention. Like, one of the worst things I have ever seen on a Major League Wrestling show, that Roxanne Perez and Shawn Michaels thing this week. Just brutal on all levels.
You're not kidding. It's not hyperbole. I don't think you're exaggerating. That is one of the worst pro wrestling segments I've ever laid eyes on in a major league company or anything resembling a major league company. I can't believe they put shit like that on the air. You know, it's just, and it's not even all on the performers. I mean, the fact that they would format segments like that, but that's why NXT is just it's the absolute shits. But we'll get to that later. We're gonna bury NXT plenty like we always do. I've run out of words to describe how much I loathe NXT.
Oh, it's just, when you put pen to paper on this card that they're presenting this weekend, it really shines a light on just like how fucking terrible that show is, and how I still don't think enough people realize how bad NXT is. And I know it's probably because most people aren't watching, or if you do watch, like maybe you just check in on the monthly shows or whatever, the specials, or you watch some of the main events. But I really think people are just straight up not watching anymore, because it does not get enough focus and attention for how awful it is, how bad the stories are, how bad the gimmicks are, how badly they're using people. And you're going to find when we preview
the presentation, it's the presentation
brutal.
Of the show.
It's so bad.
It's like it's like this Degrassi junior high bullshit fucking television production with terrible acting. And why can't they just do a pro wrestling show, Rich?
I don't know.
It's so bad, unwatchable. I have to question. I've said this before, and it might be harsh. We're off to a great start here. We're going to bury a lot of shows.
Oh, yeah, get ready. Crack those knuckles, baby. Crack those knuckles, baby. We're mad. We're bothered.
I mean, this is might sound harsh, but I have to question any adult who sits down and genuinely enjoys NXT. I have to question you. There's something wrong with you. If you sit down on Tuesday nights and slap your hands together and rub them together.
Get that bowl of popcorn, you know.
Yeah, that little snack.
Ding, the microwave goes off. You go, oh, nice. You know, you walk over there, you shake the bag a little bit so, you know, all the butter gets all over the place. You rip that bad boy open. You can put it in a bowl if you want. If you're a bowl guy, that's fine. Maybe you have one of those plastic things that looks like the movie theater popcorn, or you just, you know, straight out of the bag, bowl, the plastic thing that I'm talking about, whatever. You rip that open, you sit down, you slap the hands and go, all right. NXT, baby. Let's see what Chase U's up to this week.
Yeah. Little beverage, adult or otherwise. You know, you're all set. Yeah. You know? You
some cream soda, a can of cream soda next to you. You ready to go?
Yeah. Put your feet up on the ottoman and, you're ready for...
Yeah, ottoman or the lazy. You pull the lever on the lazy one. It goes back, you lean back, and you go, all right.
Let's
see what Fallon Henley's got in store for tonight.
Yeah.
Will Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley fuck? I don't know. We're going to find out tonight. Maybe.
He's a virgin. You know? I can't wait to see what kind of dumb faces Thea Hale makes this week. You know, who's enjoying this? I have to question you. You can't be a functioning adult with a real job and responsibilities and half a fucking brain in your skull if you genuinely play out the scenario that we just laid out for you on Tuesday nights and genuinely enjoy that show. That after 2 hours, you take your remote, you click the TV off, and you go, that was a satisfying night of entertainment.
Right, I need a cigarette after that one.
Time for a little buttermilk, and then I'm gonna hit the sack. You can't. I can't accept it. I can't buy it because I can't. I almost feel like that show is so bad that it's tongue in cheek, and they know it's horrendous. Because they can't think it's good, right? The people making it, like they know.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's a 2-hour Saturday Night Live parody sketch. That's really what it is, right? And they're self-aware. Rich, please tell me they're self-aware.
I would hope that Michael Hickenbottom is self-aware, but I'm not sure he is. I don't know. I can't give you a definitive. I would love to say yes. They know it sucks and they're fine with it. I felt like the early NXT 2.0, they knew that it sucked. Like when Vince sent Bruce Pritchard down there to throw some paint all over everything and fire all the old guys or whatever, I felt they kind of knew, all right, the Tony D'Angelo stuff when it started, like, a little tongue-in-cheek. At this point, I don't know if they believe that this is actually the true way to create WWE superstars or not. Like that's where I don't know. Like I think they did start out being like, all right, yeah, we're gonna strip this thing down to its core and build it back up or whatever. But now we're a year and a half or whatever into this.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, I think maybe it was sort of like, they've kind of changed in recent years because of the times that we're in. But remember when Hooters broke through in the 90s or whatever. Their slogan was, delightfully tacky, but proud of it or whatever it was. They were self-aware of Hooters was very self-aware of what they were. And it was kind of like they were in on the joke, right? I feel like what you're saying is early NXT 2.0, they were in on the joke. They knew it was, but now I think Shawn Michaels, like you're saying, is taking this shit seriously. And he thinks he's creating great television. I think he thinks he's creating great television. And I'll disagree with you somewhat. I think that they think they're creating WWE superstars with this formula. And I got to tell you, if this is the future of WWE.
My God.
Listen, for me, that company's hanging on by a thread already. Like, I can barely tolerate that company already. If this is what it's going to be in 5-10 years, like this is the template, I can't, Rich. We're finally going to have to cut bait with it. I cannot, because I find NXT so off-putting. I mean this. I'm saying it with my chest, and I mean it with every fiber of my being. NXT 2.0 in its current form is the worst Major League Pro Wrestling I have ever laid my eyes on. Any era of Impact, any era of WWE, even late-stage Vince McMahon, Raw, this is worse. Because I don't know what the fuck this is supposed to be. I don't know what it is. It's just bad. It's just bad. You can't. That Roxanne Perez, Shawn Michaels thing, it is so irredeemably awful. Awful.
I think I might play the audio on this on this show. You won't be able to hear it, but you've seen it. But when we do get to the preview, I think I need to play that audio because again, I just do not think enough people are talking about how bad it is. It is otherworldly terrible. And like there was the last time that I played some NXT thing, and you're like, I don't think that's any worse than any normal, bad NXT thing. You agree with me that this was like, my jaw dropped watching it with how awful it was, how very clearly Shawn Michaels and Roxanne Perez were not in the same room. They had a stand-in Shawn Michaels for the rack focus or whatever so that they could pretend that they were in the same room together. And then it ends with a cut to the whatever they call their arena now. Who the fuck cares what it is or whatever. And all the wrestlers that are in the ladder match are all standing around like pointing and smiling and gesturing or whatever. And then all of a sudden, here's Roxanne Perez with her title in like this abyss of darkness, holding her title up and nodding and smiling. And you could tell that like she wasn't there when they filmed this. She was like clearly they put that in later. They filmed this thing with Michaels later. Roxanne wasn't with Michaels when she filmed it. It's so bad. It's just all the collection. And it's like, this is WWE and we're a week out of WrestleMania for NXT. Like, God damn. Remember, we used to come onto these preview shows. We used to come onto these preview shows and say like the safest bet in wrestling is an NXT takeover. Like no matter what we talk about Mania weekend, like just fucking throw it all away. Watch Takeover. Just watch it. Just make sure you watch Takeover because it's going to deliver. This is NXT now. This is where we're at right now. And this show it looks awful on paper. And yeah, I'm going to play that audio later when we preview NXT. I think people need to wrap their head around just how bad this whole thing was. It's unconscionable how terrible it was.
I remember when I was writing reviews for Fighting Spirit magazine, and I was on the NXT beat for the takeovers, and the boss over there, Brian Elliott, he finally broke and finally told me one time, he goes, "Please do not open up the NXT review with NXT takeover is the safest bet in wrestling."
It's the most boring lead. You write it every single time, Joe. Yeah,
every time. Right. I wrote that lead for like 3 years straight for every NXT review I ever wrote until he finally put his foot down and said, "Stop writing that, Joe. Just stop." So yeah, no, they were, the takeovers were great, and then they got a little too into themselves and kind of smelling your own farts with the Gargano Ciampa stuff towards the end. But my God, even the worst of that era it's at least it was pro wrestling. At least it vaguely resembled pro wrestling. I don't know what the fuck NXT is now. It's just these really bad community theater actors portraying pro wrestlers. Because the wrestling itself is terrible too. Like there's not even any good wrestling on the show. It's almost like they're taking theater professionals and teaching them how to bump. It's the most bizarre, strange thing.
I will say that is unfortunately a slight against theater professionals because theater professionals would not talk like this.
Oh yeah, and these people are. Don't get me wrong; none of them are good at the acting part of it.
It's only slightly better than porn acting, and I feel like even that sometimes is a little bit demeaning to porn acting. There's been much more believable stuff that I've watched than Roxanne Perez saying, "Sean, you never thought about the next year's WrestleMania. You only thought about what was ahead for you." It's like there's nothing. I've never ever seen anything worse on porn. And trust me, Joe, I know you've seen a lot.
Oh, whoa! Jeez.
I'm just saying, you're a man that I think enjoys the adult film industry, right?
I think we all dabble now.
Of course.
I mean, I'm not some kind of porn fiend. Who was that guy on the Observer board back in the day who was like, did the porn reviews and knew and broke down?
No,
remember that guy?
I do. That was weird. Yeah,
he would break down the work rate of the scenes and. He, like wrestling, he'd be like, "It's not good with. I want to see this person work with this person. I think you'd have, like he." It's like, I mean, I would never, I'll put some porn on a dark, lonely night now and then and rub one out. But I'm not like matching up porn stars because I think they'd have good chemistry on screen, and I'm not like star rating the scenes that I watch.
Yeah, or
That guy,
having like dream matches. You know what? If Starless Sensation ever get a run with Tony Nipples, man. Oh God, that would be magic. That would be magic. But
he'd rank them. He would rank them like the PWI 500.
Right.
Like you know what is it? His name was Jim Bob. That's who it was.
Jim
right?
Bob, yes, Jim Bob. That's right.
That
Yeah,
was
perfect name for a guy that reviews porn on a wrestling message board. Jim Bob.
Yeah, Jim Bob. No, but you're right. It is sub porn level acting. I mean, I've seen Natasha Nice nail some scenes, much better than some of these people on NXT do. And they all have porn names too. Like if a wrestler showed up in NXT named Natasha Nice, that's totally believable.
For sure, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
They're all porn names. They all look like porn. It looks like it's like way worse than soap operas, right? Like it's worse than soap opera acting.
For sure.
And that's like the lowest form of television acting is soap opera acting, right? It's probably about on par with average porn acting. It's probably better than the worst porn acting you've ever seen, but I think it's worse than the best porn acting you've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where I would put it. Yeah, there has been, I have seen stuff where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's it. But there's some stuff that's worse than this. It is right in between. It is mid-level porn acting, basically.
Yeah, and then you don't even get to watch people fuck.
No, you always kind of every time I'm done watching NXT, it's like a segment happens. I'm like, all right, here we go, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. It's just like Kiana James is just gonna wrestle now, and I'm like, all right, fair enough.
And they're all porn characters too. Like like Kiana James is a fucking porn character. Tony D'Angelo's like delivering pizza in a porn.
Yeah,
like they're
Alba
they're
Fire,
all
Isla
porn
Dawn.
characters.
Yeah,
all of them. You're right. Like, Fire and Dawn. They'd be in those scenes that start with the fucking castle. Right? Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
I don't.
That's where you get a little.
I don't, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah, you do, Rich. Yeah, you do. Everyone's seen the castle, the armory, the fucking. Those are the scenes they'd be in, and then the scene starts. And they've got
It'd be
a guy
like hot
tied
goth
down.
girl gets, you know what I mean? Like hot goth girl in all caps or whatever.
Yeah, she's got a guy tied down to a torture board with fucking with a ball gag, and she's wearing a strap on. Like that's what that's what They're all everyone on that show is a porn character.
Yeah, the Creed brothers are just like dumb jock takes it from hot milf or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the like, Creeds.
The Creeds walk in on their stepmoms stuck in a dryer.
Oh yeah,
that's what they are.
Okay, they're stepmom fuckers. Yeah, you're right. They definitely are.
Yeah, their mom is stuck in the dryer.
Gallus feels like the type of guys with like glory holes. They feel like glory hole guys, right?
Who are glory hole guys?
Gallus.
Wolfgang's a glory hole guy. That's what we're doing
they kind of look like they are, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Chase U is just obviously like high school, innocent teen, like experiments or whatever.
Right, but they have to make it a point to tell you they're 18 at some point before the scene starts.
18-year-old high school student learns, and you're like, oh, I don't know. This is.
They always have to make it a point,
this one, just in case.
Like,
I'm staying away from this one.
There must be some kind of laws, right? Because like the thumbnail, everybody looks 38, but then you click it and it's like in the dialogue, they're always like, "I just turned 18." Like before, they have to get that out of the way. Just like in the stepmom videos, someone always has to say, "But you're my stepmom."
Yeah, isn't this weird? You're my stepmom, and they go, "It's not that weird. We're not really related." It's like, "Oh, I guess you're right."
So, there's obviously some kind of law, like you can't depict
for sure,
like blood relatives or what I mean. But NXT is the fucking shits. But man, what a hot start this week.
We are off and firing. Yeah. Christopher Ellis in the middle of chat room. Maybe this, I don't know this, so hopefully you'll know it. Shawn Michaels is the Greg Land of wrestling. I don't know who Greg Land is. Are you aware of Greg Land?
Greg Land. No, I don't know.
Oh, it looks like he's a comic book artist. I thought he was some porn guy. Unbelievable. All right.
Oh, come on. No, who cares? Comic book guy.
Don't get Joe started on a comic book artist anyway. Okay, so yeah, we are going to preview all of WrestleMania Weekend stuff coming up very shortly here on the show. We'll talk about the main shows, focusing primarily on Ring of Honor, primarily on WrestleMania, the 2 nights of WrestleMania, NXT, the aforementioned NXT, we will get to, and a few other things as well, New Japan and Impact, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, the WrestleCon Super Show, Janela's Spring Break 7, and then, Gringo Locos. I think the World on Lucha probably deserves a little bit of a spotlight. And then, we'll see about all the, if we have time, we'll go over the other stuff. But if you really want, every single show covered in excruciating detail, the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network, I did about 9 hours worth of previews for pretty much every show. I think we covered 95% of the shows that are going on WrestleMania weekend. So that's available on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network feed, as well as YouTube if you want to go and listen to those. But if there's a specific show that we don't get to and you're like, oh man, I covered it all. I covered it all with different people. I covered it all at the beginning of the show in the intro. There is plenty of ways to be previewed about these shows that I'm positive you don't really actually care about that much. But trust me, we care. So if you care, Voice of Wrestling, a podcast network, or YouTube, all that stuff is on there. But we'll do that a little bit later, cover all the major shows. We are also going to touch on some quick hitter news items in the world of pro wrestling. First things, we'll talk about Nick Khan and the recent comments that he had on an interview, a sports media a podcast where he talked a little bit about Vince McMahon, talked a little bit about rights fees, a little bit about a potential change in how they deliver their PLEs, their premium live events, and some other stuff as well. We have Jon Moxley fighting back against CM Punk a little bit, making his word, getting his word out there on his wife's podcast, on Renee's podcast, the session. It's not oral sessions anymore, right? It's just the sessions or whatever. Should be oral. I like to bet on his oral sessions, but I'll talk about that. Kaito Kiyomiya may have found a way out of carrying bags for Keiji Muto and potentially getting a job from WWE. It looks like he is not going to be making it to Los Angeles, but we'll talk on a little bit about that, and then a few other things here and there. But Joe, this is also a pretty important weekend in our sports lives because baseball starts tomorrow, man. WrestleMania weekend's happening, baseball's happening, things are going on in the world, man. It is wild. When's that Final Four? Isn't the Final Four this weekend too?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Unbelievable. What a sports weekend.
It's a lot happening. It's a good thing I have 4 TVs.
You're going to need all 4 of them to watch Creighton and San Diego State versus... So now, everybody knew this was going to happen, right? With this year's Final Four. I saw some people surprised, but everybody that I saw predicted was who the fuck knows? This one's going to be wild. Who cares? And I know San Diego State beat Creighton. I forget who San Diego State's facing. I don't follow college basketball enough to know. So, but everybody kind of realized it was going to be an insane, weird, Final Four this year, right?
Yeah, I don't think, nobody would have picked San Diego State and Florida Atlantic and Miami and UConn on purpose. That combination. UConn a lot of people thought were going to go to the Final Four, but the other 3,
not a chance.
But you're right in that this year everybody knew the tournament was going to be wild and unpredictable, and it's going to be like that until this is a whole new world with the NIL and the transfer portal and all this. So Miami, for example, they're through the city. The mayor is involved. They're paying millions of dollars in NIL money to the basketball players to get recruits to come and recruits and transfers to come to Miami. And here they are in the Final Four. Florida Atlantic, same thing. They've done a really good job with the transfer portal, and they were a really good team coming in. They were 30-3 coming into the tournament, but because they played in a smaller conference, people didn't really know about them. This is how college basketball is now. It's at least for now, until these coaches figure it out. It's not going to be a situation where you get 3 number 1 seeds and they're all blue bloods, Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky, or, UCLA or Michigan State or whatever. And then maybe you get one Cinderella that's a 5 seed or something.
Yeah, you're George Masons, right? and those sort of teams. And
well, not even. I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying, I see, a 5 seed, not a fully out of nowhere completely.
You're whoa, a 6 seed went to the Final Four. Now, any seed can go to the Final Four. Now, when George Mason did it as a 14 seed or whatever, that really was an anomaly to go as, now, you got a 9 seed there. It's, you had, Loyola Chicago a couple years ago, and it's going to stay like this for a while, through a combination of factors. And also, any legitimate, there's no star players in college basketball anymore because, the early entry into the NBA. And, so it's going to be wild and unpredictable. And I guess some people think that's good. And some people think it's kind of shitty because, it all depends what your values are as a sports fan. But no, to get back to the question you asked me before I went babbling on for 4 minutes, you're correct. Everyone expected it to be unpredictable, even if they didn't, choose these 4 teams to be the ones to get through.
Right. Very few people probably thought that Florida Atlantic University would have a chance at the national championship.
Yeah.
So
there's a chance that Florida Atlantic will play San Diego State in the final, and that would be an all mid-major final.
God, can you imagine? I am so ready for it. I'm sure.
Well, CBS isn't. Ready
CBS is not ready for it. No, they are not. They'll be doing a lot of buybacks on a lot of those ad buys.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though, the tournament's been crushing it.
Yeah.
In the ratings, and the women's tournament has been crushing it too. So, but I think a Florida Atlantic, San Diego State final. I don't know. The hot streak for the tournament might end there.
That might be a bridge too far for some people, but yeah, I welcome it. I welcome the chaos, but no, let's. I mean, we'll real quickly, and then we'll get to the news and all the previews and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we got baseball. It's here. Our 2 crappy teams.
This weekend is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I was looking at the Mania schedule, and we're going to go over what we're doing in a minute, I guess right now. But I'm looking at some of these windows, and it's like Reds game, WrestleMania shows, college basketball. It's like 4 TVs isn't enough. Like, I'm out of screens on some of these windows on some of these next 4 days. I really wish baseball would have started the week before or the week after.
Yeah, too early. But yeah, it happens every year because people always say like, "Oh, when you guys should do a baseball intelligentsia for like the Patreon." I'm always like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Like in the middle of the summer, I think like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good idea." And then I always forget. I'm like, "Why don't we do that? We should just do that." You and I shoot the shit about baseball for like 2 hours on the Patreon or whatever. And then I remember it's like almost always the same weekend as the beginning of WrestleMania weekend. I'm like, I'm not going to get on and talk about baseball for 2 hours. We got like 1,000 wrestling shows to talk about, and 20,000 hours of wrestling over the next couple of days. Like, no, I'm good. I don't need to be talking about baseball during this week. And then it sucks because then it's like you can't do a baseball preview show like next week. That's hack. Like, all right, who do I think's gonna win? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, this team's already 1-7. Like, I don't know. I would love to do something like that, but it always comes at like the worst possible time. It tends to always be like you said, this WrestleMania weekend, and it's just a very overwhelming sports weekend.
The New York WrestleMania weekend, baseball started that weekend because I remember watching the Reds games on my phone while I was at these shows. I wish they would miss each other by a week. It would make things a lot more convenient. And before you get deluged on the Twitter feed, Florida Atlantic is playing San Diego State in the Final Four.
Oh,
so
okay,
one of them is guaranteed a shot at the national championship. So yeah, they're on the same side of the bracket. But yeah, there's just this is a crazy weekend. I already told my wife, I'm like, hey, I have way too much to do.
I'm worthless. I'm worthless this weekend.
Thursday to Sunday, just leave me the fuck alone. I can't participate in anything. So including up to possibly 7 audio shows, not counting this one.
Yep.
Not counting the Dynamite review. I don't even know where I'm squeezing.
Oh my God! Yes, you still have to do that.
No, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? When we're done here, I'm gonna watch Dynamite and then do the Dynamite review in the middle of the night. That's what I'm gonna do. So, the Dynamite review will be up in the wee hours of Wednesday night / Thursday morning. I can't possibly squeeze it in tomorrow. So, live production meeting. I'm going to do the Dynamite review late tonight, so that'll be out early. Tomorrow, wall-to-wall WrestleMania shows, the Ring of Honor Tony Khan media call. So we'll have our usual coverage in the flagship channel of our Discord of the live media coverage of the Tony Khan call, which people prefer that because on Twitter you got 19 people tweeting. None of them know what they're doing anyway. I give you the pertinent information you need from the media call in one neat and tidy place. I cut out all the bullshit. So we'll cover that as we always do. Plus, I'll do my little write-up of my analysis of the media call tomorrow and get that posted sometime with the audio, with the unedited audio that we post. So we have that tomorrow on top of wall-to-wall WrestleMania shows on Thursday. And then the plan for tomorrow is we will have our first WrestleMania weekend wrap-up show. The Thursday night wrap-up show will be done tomorrow in the wee hours, late Thursday, early Friday. Probably just me, because For the Culture is starting at 2:00 Central. So Rich is not going to be, Rich has to go to work the next day,
that's not it.
Early in the morning. So after For the Culture ends at maybe 4 a.m. or whatever, I will do the Thursday WrestleMania wrap-up show, and that'll be on on the $5 feed by early Friday morning. And looking at the schedule, even with the ROH media call, even with Red's opening day, I think I could watch every single show. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 shows on Thursday. Now, 3 of them go head-to-head. Bloodsport, the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Supershow, and one of the Circle 6 shows.
Yeah, Mama Kogar's Delicate Flowers will all be at the same time.
That's actually the Vinny Massaro show, but yeah.
Sorry,
goes head-to-head with
you're right.
But it goes head-to-head with multiple Circle 6 shows because they're only 1-hour shows. Of course, there's like 4 shows on this whole weekend that I want to watch, and 2 of them go head-to-head.
Of course, yeah.
So Bloodsport and Hitchcock Memorial Show. So some of these go head-to-head. But other than that, I think I can watch everything. I'm going to blow off the DDT show because that goes head-to-head with the New Japan Impact Multiverse show. I'm going to watch that instead because I don't like DDT anyway. Rich, you're going to watch the DDT show, correct?
Yep, got it.
So at some point this weekend, you're going to get a DDT review. It won't be from me on the Thursday wrap-up show, though, because I'm going to watch the Multiverse show instead, and they're head-to-head. I'm going to try to watch Bloodsport and the Hitchcock show at the same time. We'll see how that goes. And everything else I can watch. So wrap-up show on the $5 tier for Thursday. And then you guys are also guaranteed on the $10 tier live instant reactions on Friday after Supercard of Honor, on Saturday after night 1 of WrestleMania, and on Sunday after night 2 of WrestleMania. We are doing 3 live instant reactions after those 3 shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Both Rich and I will be on all 3 of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
But you may also get, and those 4 shows are guaranteed, the Thursday show and the 3 live instant reactions Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are guaranteed.
100% locked in. Those are locked in. $5 tier for the wrap-up show, $10 tier for the Supercard and both WrestleMania Goes to Hollywood Saturday and Sunday instant reaction shows. Locked in.
So just get on the $10 tier and get everything.
Yeah, flagshippatreon.com, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon.
Now, what you may also get, and we're not promising these because we're going to play it by ear, is on Friday night and Saturday night, we may do recorded $5 tier wrap-up shows on those nights as well, in addition to the live instant reactions. We just have to play it by ear, see how much we can watch, see how we feel. So there may be Friday night and Saturday night wrap-up shows on the $5 tier as well. Those, though, at least as of Wednesday night, as we're doing this live show, we can't guarantee. But may get those as well. The bottom line is
you're going to get a lot of shit, basically, is what we're saying. We are going to be watching and recording audio pretty much all weekend.
You are not going to find, any outlet that's going to cover as much of this weekend as Rich and I will. And all the written reviews on the website on top of that, if you don't want to listen to us. But no one's going to cover it like us, because I'm looking at this schedule of stuff that's airing. He may not review every single show that airs. We're going to review 90% of them. And the only ones we won't review is if there's a time conflict and we have to pick one or the other, or But Rich and I will work that out. We might, I'm looking at this stuff like on Friday, for example. I don't want to watch Tokyo Joshi Pro. So maybe Rich will watch that one.
I got that one for you. It's fine.
And while I'm watching fucking the Circle 6 Jake Christ Fire Starters, you know what I mean? So between the two of us, we can have everything covered. So, we will have at least 90% of these shows reviewed on audio, and we might do as many as 6 or 7 shows to get it done. Let's fucking go, Rich.
Yeah, we're just dumb as hell. What are we doing?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm ready.
I've told the nurse a very similar thing. I was just like, I'm gonna be dumb as fuck from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just leave me alone. Just whatever you're gonna do it. I don't care. I'm just gonna be sitting here on this couch or sitting on this desk recording audio. Just leave me alone. We'll figure out food, whatever. But I'm probably not leaving the house for 3 straight days. So just so you know, just so you're aware of that. So it's fine. We do it for you people.
Yeah, and then.
Each and every one of you, WWE speak.
If on Thursday, maybe it's fucking 3 a.m. and maybe I slap record while For the Culture's still in the ring. I don't know. But then, we'll do that review the next day. Look, you're going to get everything reviewed. Okay? And you're going to get at least at minimum, 4 shows. 3 of them live. And you're probably going to get more than that because I'm a completionist and I'm going to be annoyed if I don't do one every night. I know it's going to bug me. Friday night, I'm going to be sitting there watching Game Changer Wrestling Emo Fight at 1:38 a.m. And against all my better instincts, I'm going to be like, no, Joe, you got to stay up and do the audio. And I'm going to, like a dope, stay up and do the audio. And I'm going to be breaking down Circle 6, Zachary Wentz's Treehouse of Dreams at 3:47 a.m. while my wife is begging me to just to come to bed. So that's the plan. Get on the $10 tier, and you're guaranteed to not miss anything. You're going to get 3 live instant reactions on that $10 tier,
including Sunday's going to be. Supercard of Honor is going to be a great show, I think, and WrestleMania Saturday I think is going to be an eventful show, but then Sunday is going to be the big one. I mean, that's one that because we're going to find out Cody versus Roman. You know what I mean? Like that is going to be a huge one to see. No matter what the match is, no matter if we like the match or don't like the match, a monumental booking decision will have been made. You know what I mean? Like it's something will. No matter what they do on that show, something major will have happened on Sunday night when we go live. Like Cody's either the champion, they beat Cody and Roman's still the champion. They did a double count out. Hell, we'll talk about that if they do a double. You know what I mean? Like we're guaranteed something monumental happening on Sunday, and I think that's got me really excited too for a WrestleMania show that I don't know that I'm necessarily looking forward to the bell to bell of that WrestleMania show, but I'm just gonna be fascinated on. Okay, this is it. Now or never. Let's find out. Cody versus Roman. They've done a good job of building it up and making it that sort of thing where we can do this instant reaction live and we're going to have an hour of discussion about whatever the booking decision that they made and whatever ends up happening. Like that's got me excited. And Supercard of Honor is just going to be a tremendous show. I mean, it just looks, it's getting better by the day. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about that one too. And then WrestleMania on Saturday, the lesser of the 3, I would say, but that might be pretty eventful for the most part. I'm sure there'll be some good wrestling on that one too. So.
And remember, even if you're listening to this show live and you're thinking, I'm already a $10 subscriber, careful now, because a vast majority of subscriptions are set to turn over on Friday night because it's the end of the month. So make sure you're locked in. Make sure all your cards are updated. Make sure if you canceled earlier this month that you re-up before Saturday, because Saturday's the 1st. So the vast majority of our subscribers are running from the 1st to the 1st because we didn't, for a long time, we didn't have anniversary billing. So that's an also tricky part of this weekend. So keep an eye on the status of your subscriptions between Friday and Saturday, because that's when the calendar turns to April.
Yep.
And in the midst of all of that, I guarantee you, I will not miss a single pitch of Reds Pirates all weekend. Okay?
I guarantee you, I will miss several pitches of White Sox Astros. That could get real bad real quick. So what do you got? Reds Pirates. All right, yeah, that's a interesting tilt between two mid-level NL Central teams. But all right, yeah,
I will be locked in. I will not miss a single pitch, and I will not miss a single minute of the Final Four. And on top of getting all this, let's fucking go, Rich.
Yeah, it's a hell of a weekend, man. I'm excited too. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't
annoyed
sleep.
That nothing. I gotta tell you, I was annoyed that nothing was streaming today. None of these shows today
I know, no Microman Midget Wrestling for you, no Pandemonium Pro Wrestling TV Volume 4, Best Damn Thing, Violence and Suffering. Like, we can end the show and you can get right to Set the Tone, Violence and Suffering, and SWA Puerto Rico. You're not going to be able to do that anymore.
You know, that one I think is going to, isn't that one Aaron on
that
delay?
one will, but they said it's like on the 4th or something like that. So I guess you can do audio about that one later. if you're such a completionist that, it made air. Pandemonium as well. That at some point, Pandemonium will be making it to IWTV. Just no idea when exactly.
Out of sight, out of mind at that point. The first show of the weekend, that Dark Arts Entertainment Monster Mania, total attendance 27.
Oof. Well, I mean, let's be honest. A 1 p.m. Pacific time start for a Wednesday show seems like an ominous. I mean, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Because I think I did the preview with Paul, the co-host of the Emerald Flow show here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network, and we were just like, of all the times to book a show, like the Pandemonium one that just hit the ring like a couple hours ago or something, like an hour and a half ago or something like that.
Yeah.
That's okay. By that point on Wednesday, you could have flown into Los Angeles. You could have driven in or whatever. You might be, because things nice and early on Thursday. You don't want to travel on Thursday. You had to make this a Wednesday travel day for this year's Mania because you want to make sure you're there for Bloodsport, for the Super Show, for all that sort of stuff on Thursday. So you're probably coming in on a Wednesday. Okay, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., that's a time when you could go, you know what? It's a wrestling weekend. Let's go see some wrestling. Nobody is
settled
arriving.
Into the hotel.
Yeah, right. Right. We checked in. We know where we are. We got a good meal. Okay, yeah, let's go check out some wrestling. And yeah, it all worked. 1 p.m. Like nobody is in town in enough time to go, yeah, you know what? I want wrestling at 1 p.m. Like, forget that. Like, you either left your house at 7 a.m. and flew out that morning. You probably got to LA at like noon or whatever, or 11 a.m. You're not going to Don Quixote at 1 p.m. to watch Dark Arts Entertainment Monster Mania. You know what I mean? So, like, they're not getting traveling fans. And even if you lived in Los Angeles, 1 p.m. on a Wednesday, like, that's you have to be unemployed, right? Like, to go to that show, you pretty much have to be unemployed. Like, because you can take Thursday and Friday off if you're in Los Angeles and you're like, you know what? Wrestling's coming. I'll take a couple. You're not taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, right?
Well, you either live there or you flew in Tuesday for some reason. Maybe you flew in Tuesday because you wanted to go to fucking 5 days with the show. I don't know.
Well, not enough people did, Joe, because what'd you say? It was 27 was the final tally?
Yeah, I got a little scoop. It's total paid 27. You know where I got that scoop?
What are the 27 people that was there?
Counted the 27 people that were in the building with a match in the ring. So 27 people was what I counted. Some of them may have worked for the promotion, but hey, much like WWE, if you're in the building, we're going to count.
Yeah, if you got a heartbeat, right? If you got a heartbeat, we're counting you. So good for that.
That's a direct quote, by the way.
Yes.
Count everyone with a heartbeat. Yeah. Right down to the janitor staff. Counting the janitor staff at these events.
So now I know that
lying up.
I was going to say infamously that New York IPW UK show. Remember what during the New York WrestleMania weekend? I think that had like 35 to 50 people. I forget.
That had under 10.
Did it have under 10?
That was the show that had under 10.
Are you sure it was under 10?
I'm positive, because the next show was Stardom, and the people waiting in line to get in, like when the IPW UK show let out, less than 10 people came out. We had people tell us that. The attendance was under 10. Some of those New York shows had like just dire attendance. Like there may have been more shows in New York than here. No,
this is pretty. Yeah, this is
no, maybe not. New York is the first one where it was just stupid. But a lot of those shows, yeah, I have my notes somewhere. I don't have them in front of me, but because I dug up the attendance on most of those shows. I asked promoters. I did a lot of work on that. Some of those shows did that was the worst one, but there were a bunch of others.
Yeah, there was a Hog show that was really bad, and there was several shows that just did not.
30 paid, just horrible. Because you would have 4 or 5, 6 shows going head to head in 2 different states. Remember, Jersey City,
Oh, yeah.
Galway, Manhattan. It's ridiculous, so
Yeah,
even just
Queens, and it's also like not that easy to get. So you had like you had Jersey City, Manhattan, Queens with La Boom was I think that's where the IPW UK show was happening at La Boom or whatever.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so and trust me, I traveled to all of them. I drove to all of them.
Wait a minute, that one wasn't La Boom. It was I forget where, but there was also Rahway, New Jersey.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously the Rahway, the famous Rahway Rec Center. Where there's been a ton of pro wrestling. That's where, you and I went to the Impact show.
Yeah. That was the first time a real life meeting between Joe and Rich.
No, we met in Manhattan. We met.
No, you got your time wrong. No, the Impact show was before that one. The next morning we met in Manhattan.
Oh, the next day we did the handshake?
And we recreated it all. We just pretended that we didn't meet in
Oh,
Rahway.
you're right. Yeah.
Because we were both tired and I had been up for 24 straight hours and I walk in and you're like, hey, and I'm like, hey, what's up? We just sat down and watched, Sabu and Rob Van Dam versus the Lucha Brothers, and you're like, all right, we're gonna go, and I'm like, yeah, we'll go too. It's like the least. And I remember, driving back with Sean, who I was traveling with, and he was like, wow, I thought you guys would be a little bit more energetic, and I'm like, to be fair, I've talked to this guy for 8 years, every week for hours upon hours for 8 years. It's not like we're, what am I gonna say to him that I don't say to him on any other given week or whatever? But also, it was 11:45 p.m. and I'm in Rahway, New Jersey, watching this awful Impact show. So it's it's hard to get too excited. So yeah, we recreated the handshake in Manhattan. So
we did. We worked everybody and pretended that we hadn't met the night before. Did you feel in the Rahway Rec Center? Did you feel the ghosts of Jersey All Pro and ROH shows of years past?
I did not.
Stepped into that.
I did not.
The vaunted Rahway Rec Center. You did not.
I did not. I had no connection to that
building.
building.
You did not feel the ghost of Teddy Hart or.
I feel a lot. I felt a lot of Teddy Hart things over the course of that WrestleMania weekend, including the gigantic blunt he smoked a couple of feet away from me at Blackcraft. Which, by the way, flagshippatreon.com if you want me to recreate our. I go through that entire WrestleMania weekend of my travels, including the infamous Blackcraft Wrestling show that you did not attend, thankfully, but I did attend. But no, I didn't feel anything. To be honest, again,
so when you walked into the building, the vaunted Rahway Rec Center, you didn't feel the presence of Fat Frank looking down from the heavens.
I felt nothing.
You felt nothing.
Felt nothing.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Legendary wrestling venue.
Yeah, in better circumstances, I may have, but it was honestly, we shouldn't have gone to that show. We just went home. It was we had been up for so long. And for some reason, we were like, let's go to, we're thinking, New Jersey. New Jersey. We were in Newark.
Yeah, that's not a hop, skip, it's still a half-hour drive back to Newark.
Yeah, it was, and we got caught in traffic, and I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, this is so dumb. And then we get to the show, and we're like, well, we're going to be able to see Rob Van Dam and Sabu. when else can we say that? And it's they hit the ring, and I was just like, I came here for this. What the fuck am I doing?
You probably went right up Route 1, which means you were stuck in Elizabeth traffic, maybe dodging some bullets.
I forget where we were exactly, but it was a lot of traffic, a lot of traffic, and that just not moving either. And there was an accident. I went back and listened to, because Sean and I did audio that entire week, and you can go listen to that in the archives as well. It was our travels as we're driving to all these different shows and reacting to them or whatever. And I forget what it was, but there was a big accident, and it was just it was a fucking disaster. And I'm like, what are we doing? Just go home. Why are we? And I remember I think we maybe passed our hotel too, and I'm like, we could have been doing that, but that's fine. Let's go to Rahway. Let's go to the Rahway Rec Center, and it was great to meet you, and Impact treated us well that day, but it wasn't quite. Should just went to bed, but that's all right.
Did they? They didn't treat me well.
I got it.
Well.
You weren't media, sure, sir.
You were in that media section. I didn't pay
you
either,
also
I just
sat in the media section because they didn't care. Yeah. They just gave you. They give you I got a little lanyard that was media, and I was like, okay. I was like, what do you guys want? And they're like, I can go sit on that bleacher over there. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then you just walked over and sat on the same bleachers, and that was it. That was media. So, all right.
I just power walked in. If you walk with confidence, people don't stop you. You just, you walk like you own the place.
I saw this happen in real life, because you said that about everything. You said WrestleCon, I'll just walk in. I'll be fine. USA versus the World, I'll just walk in. They'll be fine. Rev Pro, I'll just walk in. They'll be fine. And God damn it, if you didn't walk in every single time, I'm sitting there, trying to rifle through my pieces of paper for my printout ticket that I printed at work so they could scan it, and there's Joe going, don't, perfect. It was exactly what you would assume a Joe and a Rich in person would be. You just like, they're not gonna care. You walk through, they don't care, and I'm like, oh, here, one sec, like, let me get my ticket, one moment. Like,
yeah, well,
it's here somewhere.
The thing about WrestleMania weekend is you get pulled in a lot of directions, and sometimes you're with a group of people who are going to a certain show that you don't have a ticket to. So it's like, well, I could stand in that dopey line, or I could just walk in like I own the place. Just walk in like you belong there. Nobody stops you. You know, and if they do, you go, oh, yeah, I guess I don't have a ticket. And then you get in line to buy a ticket.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I don't have a ticket.
Yeah. But no,
see, the shame of being caught and being told you need a ticket and me going, oh, yeah, okay. Like, I can't live with that. I would just leave.
The other thing, it's like, look, I'm not trying to sneak into the shows, but if I'm with people going to that show, I don't know. I'm just going to walk in.
The man you were with does not look like a guy who has paid for anything in a long, long time. That guy, he's also the seat.
Rob Stryker?
He's also the seat filler guy, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so yeah, that guy doesn't attend anything without getting
yeah.
paid or just doing it for free, is what I'm.
Well, his method is, well, you just have to buy one ticket to things. I'm like, well, what's your thought process there? He's like, well, you have the digital email tickets now, so you show them the digital ticket. And then you pretend like you're rifling through your phone for the other one, and then you just show them the same ticket. And half these guys are just like, all right, go ahead. So that's like his method of, getting 2 for 1. But, why exposing me as like a thief? I don't know.
No, not a thief. You've provided all of these companies free advertising for years upon years. So no, we all belong.
The Impact show, we were promised the media seating. So, I don't know. I just swagger walked in. Nobody said anything. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Like,
well, now I have a lanyard and you don't. So, yeah, I'm
looking around like, oh, where's all these media people? And then I'm like, quickly realize like, oh, this is just
it's me. It was me.
Yeah.
It's the only person.
Rich Craig
was the dumb enough person to say, hi, I'm media. Can I come in? And they're like, yeah, sure. Here you go.
Did they offer you interviews with?
Hell no.
With,
no.
Top Impact stars like Joey Ryan?
No, yeah, Jimmy Havoc. They did not. No, they didn't give it. They didn't say, "Do you want to talk to Jimmy Havoc or Joey Ryan?" I said, "Oh, both if possible."
Jimmy Havoc didn't he do the salt and lemon spot with the razors?
Yes, I think with Sami Callihan on that show. Yeah, it was like at that moment that I was like, "Why am I not in bed? Like, what am I doing here? I've been up since 4 a.m. and I'm sitting here watching Sami Callihan and Jimmy Havoc put lemon in each other's open wounds, and I'm like, fucking, what am I doing with my life?" Wouldn't change it for the world though. That was a great weekend. I love it. So I didn't eat, and I was sick for like 3 months afterwards, but that's fine.
Well, you got out to one of these. They're not what they used to be. So at least you got out to one that was still, kind of a vintage WrestleMania weekend, which at some point on this audio we're going to talk about.
We are going to get this. Yeah, this is we're off the rails here with the show. So let's do the quick hitter news stuff, and then we will actually get to those Mania weekend previews. So let's talk. I think the biggest thing that I noticed this weekend, and again, real quick hitter things we're going to do here. Nick Khan, I don't know if you saw this. He was on the Sports Media Podcast, Marchand and Orand, which is a great. I listen to that podcast a lot, and if you're into like sports media and stuff, they do a great job. Those are two of the best in the biz. You had Richard Deitch into that as well in terms of guys that follow sports media and follow that sort of stuff. Again, it's also I also like talking about those shows with two like wrestling people, because a lot of like you'll get your Ryan Satins of the world. They're like, nobody else in the world cares about ratings or whatever. It's like all these guys talk about is sports ratings. It's the same show that we do, but they're talking about sports media and the Pac-12 and the Big Ten TV deals and ratings and F1 and like, you know what I mean? Like that's all that they talk about. And people try to pretend like nobody cares about the business of sports. They just enjoy the sports. And it's like, no, you're absolutely wrong. That's not what. There's several people that cover the business behind the things that they enjoy. But they had Nick Khan on this week and asked a few different things that I thought were kind of interesting. So now, before I go quote by quote, have you listened to clips from this or anything that you took away from the interview that you've either read or listened to before I kind of go quote by quote? Real quickly, which I think there were some interesting nuggets in here for sure.
I read some of the transcripts. I didn't listened to it, but I read the transcripts of the interview.
It's Nick doing that. You know what I mean? He's a smooth talker or whatever. You know, he asks them for their opinion a lot. You know, like, what do you guys think? You know, type of stuff.
Yeah, that's an old trick.
Oh yeah, it is. He goes, well, you know, I know what we want as media right, but like, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
What do you think we should get in a media rights deal or whatever? And those guys were like, oh, all right, well, yeah, actually, like, and I'm not to mean that they're like dorks or whatever, but they were like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I think you guys can get like that. Like, it made for a good conversation. He wasn't like, I'm here and you guys are here. He was like, no, I care what you guys think. He doesn't give a fuck what these guys think about the media rights deal or whatever, but he gives them that apple.
It's a way to deflect and not have to answer a question. It's an old trick, media trick. It's also a trick to use in a job interview where if you're being interviewed and you get caught off guard with a question that you may not have prepared for, don't have a good answer for, what you do is you turn it around and you ask the interviewer something about the company or something, and then you let them do them, and then you just sit there and nod, right? Like that. These are old deflection tricks where you turn the interview around on the interviewee, you know, or the other way around. So yeah, and Nick Khan is very skilled at that. And the thing about Nick Khan is a lot of times in these interviews, he doesn't say a ton, but the more of these that he does, the more that you can learn him and read between the lines of some of the things that he's saying. You know, it's almost never directly what people say. It's how they say it. It's what they don't say. And it's picking up on their style of answering questions and their little ticks. And I think that we've gotten pretty good at reading between the lines with this guy. The more that, you know what we are basically, Rich, we're like the human version of Chat GPT, where we're just getting stronger with time. The more we hear these guys do interviews and the more they talk.
Right, we're putting inputs. Every time Nick Khan does an interview,
Yes.
we have inputs that we can put in and go, okay, yeah, when he says this, he means this. When he alludes to this, it means, yeah, it's all kind of coming together now. He's not a mysterious man like he once was. He's at least to wrestling fans. Like, you and I knew him, and people that are in the sports world knew him for a while, but he's less of a mystery as WWE CEO. You know what I mean? Like, he's being more obvious and upfront with that, and you could tell where he's coming from in a lot of these different ways now, more than you did 2 years ago, or in the midst of the pandemic, when you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what's going on here? We can get his personality a little bit more.
All right, so what were the key things here? We'll go through these quickly.
So he says WWE plans to maximize shareholder value over the next couple of years. We know that with the next round of media rights contracts. He says that process is going to start, quote, somewhere around this weekend. So he's thinking we're in LA, we're in California, we have this big show. If anybody wants to come and talk, we're here to talk. That's essentially what he was saying is we're ready to host anybody who wants to talk. He did say existing partners Fox and NBC Universal will get the, quote, first bite at the apple to get negotiating window. So they have the right of first refusal, basically, Fox and NBCU.
Yeah.
So we all knew that, but I think the one thing is going to be that they're treating this weekend as like the kickoff to their negotiating window for a new media rights contract, which also probably means, for people saying, well, no, Vince isn't going to be there this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, that, he doesn't matter. Why would he come there this weekend? Like, there's potential people that are going to buy the company and potential people that are going to get into media rights contracts with them. I'm guessing Vince McMahon's going to be in Los Angeles this weekend, people.
Can we just listen? Can I? Far be it from me, Rich, but can I be blunt?
You? Sure, Joe. This one time, yes, you can be blunt.
Can we just take any of the remaining media people who are downplaying or denying that Vince is back around and just throw them in the fucking trash and stop listening to them? Can we just get to reality now and accept that this guy's back in the picture and he's basically there full time again? And anyone denying his influence or his presence or anything else is just a fucking clown that doesn't deserve to be heard. Can we just say that and get it out of the way?
Yes, I would like to stop qualifying it with, well, Vince McMahon is supposedly not there. Like, yeah, he's going to be there at WrestleMania this weekend. I don't know if he's going to be sitting in Gorilla telling people what to do, but he's there. They're doing media rights contracts. They're talking about potential suitors for sale. He's the chairman of the board, and he said he was there to help them with their strategic alternatives in their next round of contracts. Like, he's there. You know what I mean? Like he's there. Stop.
And oh, by the way, Nick Khan also confirmed that Vince has a hand in creative.
He does. We'll get to that in just a moment. So as I said, he then asked those guys, what do they think that they're going to get or whatever, and they just said like twice the current deals that they have or whatever. I think they both said they'll probably do to get twice, what they had last time. So. We'll see. He said, Khan did that Peacock executives credit WWE for a substantial chunk of the 20 million subscribers that they have. As he said, quote, the stickiness of WWE content leads viewers to discover other Peacock programming.
I don't know. Maybe that's true. I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows?
These streaming companies don't release any of their data. But at the same time, what's Nick Khan going to say? I mean...
Yeah, of course. He's not going to say, we do okay on Peacock. You know what I mean?
Right, because
we do
he's
all right.
not, because he when he does these interviews, he's also selling his product to other suitors. Everyone's going to listen to him talk. So, whether that's true, whether that's the truth, a lie, or something in between, and again.
Well, it's good because it's also unprovable. It's not like you can say, actually, Nick,
right.
you because we don't know. The only people that know are Peacock and maybe their providers. Maybe WWE knows. Maybe they don't. Maybe Peacock just says, yeah, you guys are fine. That's fine. Carry on. I'm sure they have data. I'm sure they have something about it. But yeah, who cares?
Yeah, and if you're doing media rights negotiations or trying to sell the company, this would be the weekend to bring in people and wine them and dine them and sit them front row at your biggest event that you're going to hold of all time. And, because when is your company going to look bigger and more grandiose than it is than this weekend? So that's also why he's saying, we're going to kick this shit off this weekend. They probably got all these people in town, like you're saying, and anyway, go ahead.
Well, and it just happens to be in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, in California. So it's just perfect. Yeah, it's the perfect time to kind of host them for this sort of thing. So this was now an interesting part that he did bring up that, and not confirming anything one way or another, but when asked about, hey, UFC, they do the stuff on ESPN Plus. Is that something that you guys would have ever thought about of selling your pay-per-views, your premium live events? Additionally, because people that don't know, you can get the UFC subscription on ESPN Plus, but when they have their big UFC shows, the big, normally what they used to be UFC pay-per-views or whatever, those are then offered for an additional fee on top of the subscription that you have. So essentially saying, hey, would you follow that model of saying, you subscribe to WWE on Peacock and you get all this stuff for free, but yeah, the premium live events, the pay-per-views, no, that's going to be an extra charge. You're going to have to pay $30 for SummerSlam and $50 for Mania or whatever. And Khan, what he said about that was that he doesn't want to price fans out of the product, but he would listen to that idea.
That's coming.
Yeah. Oh, that for sure is coming. That it's happening in all streaming media. Everyone is upcharging everything these days. Yeah, the idea, the days of I pay X per month to get that, those are. It's not happening. As long as these companies are still bleeding money, you're not. It's not. They're all bleeding money, so they're going to have to get money some way.
Even New Japan World is doing that now, more and more. We're heading down that slippery slope.
Yep.
But circling it back to this, everyone sees the deal ESPN has with UFC and how they're making money hand over fist with that model. So, an entity that wants to get in on this, they're going to try to follow that model. And WWE, listen, they're just going to go, they're going to get every nickel and they're not going to give a shit. So that's coming, and it might not even necessarily be up to them. I mean, they can obviously refuse to cut a deal with a company who's going to then upcharge for the pay-per-views if they strongly believe that they don't, but they're not going to do that.
Right. Well, actually, and the question, the way the question was phrased, and I forgot to bring that point up, is that the guys interviewing Khan said, what if Peacock offered you a big rights fee, but said the way to justify that and for us to make money back is that you're going to have to put these things on an extra tier. That we're looking at what ESPN Plus is doing, and we'll give you an increase. We'll give you X amount more or whatever. But those things, those major shows that you have, we're putting an extra fee on those to get back a little bit of our money.
Yeah. And of course, in Nick Khan, he blatantly said they're open. Of
yeah,
course,
he doesn't give a shit. Are you kidding? That's money.
That's coming.
Yeah.
So you guys can forget it. The days of I don't even know what does Peacock cost. $10.99 a month.
It
or $7.99 a month?
I think I pay $7.99 a month for like the no commercial fee or something like that.
So the point is, whatever it costs, I think I pay $7.99 too. So let's just say the days of getting everything for $10 a month, that decade is over. It had a nice run, and I don't want to go too off the beaten path here, but I think that's coming for New Japan World too. They've been dipping their toes in that more and more, and I don't think we're far off from the point where it's going to cost you a little more for Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to cost you a little more for a G1. It's just these things are constantly changing and evolving. And I thought you made a good point either on our Discord or somewhere when you said that there's a whole generation of WWE fans who have never purchased a pay-per-view. And that's going to be a big jarring change for a lot of these fans, where now they're going to be asked to cough up $40, $50, $60 every month. And it's probably not going to hurt WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and shows like that. But is it going to hurt Roadblock End of the Line and fucking Fully Loaded? Nice references, Joe. Those that haven't been
Roadblock. They haven't had a Roadblock End of the Line in about 6 years, and they haven't had a what would you say, Fully Loaded? I think the last Fully Loaded was 2001, 2000. I think was the last Fully Loaded. But yeah, thank you anyway. Yeah.
Who cares? With the
breakdown
with the
when the next
logo.
breakdown in your house happens, it's not gonna.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big time change for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be. That's the thing that I think is going to be a fascinating thing if they do actually go through with this, is how to sell that to their fans, and I think, but again, like you said, people are just going to have to get used to this in general. That all these streaming services where, hey, you can get everything for $5 and $10 a month or whatever. That was all to compete with cable. Cable's on the ropes.
They're winning.
They're winning. They're beating cable. People are cutting the cord. People are getting rid of cable.
But now they have to compete against each other.
Right. Now they actually have to make money at some point, because now it's like, hey, we're bleeding money, but we got X amount of subscribers and da-da-da. Okay, but now you're losing a shit ton of money. We beat cable. When are you guys going to turn this around? When are we going to actually make money out of this thing? We've been giving away content for as cheap as humanly possible. Now when do we get money? Because everybody cut their cord. Everybody that's going to cut cable did cut cable. We're winning now, but what's next? What's the next? Where do we get more money? How do we get? It's all, and it's going to come down to that. So yeah, this is not alone. I mean, there's going to be. I'm sure Netflix at some point is going to say, hey, that new show that we just came out, well, that's going to cost you a little bit more, because that was a pretty big production show that we just did. Like that is going to happen to all these networks very soon.
And listen, Khan just confirmed that it's going to happen, because he just said that they won't necessarily stand in the way of that.
Yeah, if
the price is right, so it's coming.
Vince McMahon's role in the company came up. Hey, nice to ask the WWE CEO about Vince McMahon. Some people can't do that or refuse to, but these guys didn't. And Khan said, quotes of Vince. This is regarding Vince being in creative and in control of creative and having something to do with creative. Okay. Khan says Vince is, quote, not that involved. Paul Levesque, Triple H, is the head of creative. He was named the head of creative in August. Vince has embraced that. He respects that. It's also his son-in-law, so they have their own dynamic.
Yeah, not that involved, which means he's involved.
He didn't say not involved. Not that involved. So yeah, depending on your definition of that, there we go. Not that involved.
Now listen, that's now Paul Levesque and Nick Khan confirming that Vince is essentially what I like to say in the room. But people will still deny this. Why, I don't know. Aside from all the anecdotal evidence that we have, just minor changes to the shows and wrestlers. Once again, another Sean Ross Sapp report came out where more wrestlers seem to be convinced that Vince has more control, even though no one can, prove it. Well, here's the thing. They're never going to tell you. Okay.
They're trying to sell their company for billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, and probably understand that guy being in the charge of creative or around the employers again is probably not a very good thing. So they're going to not tell you that he's there. Like, come on.
Look, do I think Vince McMahon is in total control of creative and Paul Levesque has no power? No. Do I think Vince McMahon is very clearly back in the fucking room? Yes. We told you that a month ago or whatever it was. And we just keep getting more confirmation of it. Okay? Because if Vince didn't have any influence, these answers would be no. Vince, but they're not. They're not. Listen to what they're telling you. They're telling you that he's got some influence here. Aside from the fact that we can see it bleeding through in small ways. And look, do I think all of these anecdotal examples of People micro analyzing every promo and everything dumb that happens on the show. Do I think they're all the product of Vince McMahon? No. Do I think some of them are? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, it's just complete denial at this point is all that is. I mean, I think this isn't even something worthy of debating anymore. The guy's back. Vince is back. And when it's financial, and when it becomes financially prudent, maybe not financially prudent, but when it becomes less of a financial risk to just totally assume control or admit that then we'll probably see that with him. But that all depends on who they sell to and what the deal is. But the thing is, he's trying to leverage a deal that's going to put him back in. He's trying to sell the people who want him in control.
Right. That's why he is the chairman of the board and that he has voting power with all of his little stooges and clown car people or whatever. Because, at the end of the day, if you think that, and I've said that from day one, that if they are going to sell, that there's no way that he's going to sign off on a deal that puts him out to pasture and he goes sits on a yacht for the rest of his life. He sat on a yacht for 4 months. He probably hated it, and he came back as soon as he possibly could. So whatever he's going to do, he's going to sign a deal that's going to make him involved in the day-to-day operations because he can't separate himself from it, and he's never going to separate himself from it.
I just love that Levesque quote from the last presser. He's like, well, I hope whoever buys the company will have me.
I know. I think he had the same voice breakup that you had too, where he's just a passenger in his own reality. He's just like, oh, I don't know.
When you do the Levesque, you have to throw in the voice break, because that's how he talks, So, I'm an expert. I'm basically Rich Little, so I'm a master of my craft, and you got to throw in those little pieces of authenticity when you're doing an imitation of somebody.
He did say they asked him about the McMahon's brief retirement. I think they used the term retirement. It's like, all right. And all the scandals and all that sort of stuff and Khan said that's in the past. But he says it's in the past, by the way. It's all done. It's all good. We're good. Nobody's sexually. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we just paid people off with company money. It's all good. Don't worry about it. The CEO credited, he said shareholders and company employees stayed calm and that helped everything. And fortunately now we're on the other side of it. So.
All right.
I guess so. Great. Good for you. And then Pat McAfee came up about Pat McAfee. Of course, it went on a sports media podcast. He will not be at WrestleMania this year, but I think he said, just to paraphrase here, that he wants to stay in the Pat McAfee business. So, if he's
Pat McAfee is very wary of the Saudis. Very wary of the Saudis. Flat out said it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to be involved. Yeah, he's sitting out until if it gets bought by Endeavor, he'll be back right away. You know what I mean? If it gets bought by Disney, I don't think he wants to. He's got too many other business ventures to worry about sinking the ship with. I mean, he sees what's going on with Live Golf. He sees what's going on with some of these other things. Yeah, he's smart enough to know. He's a very shrewd.
He doesn't. He's
very shrewd.
He's got a million jobs. He doesn't need it.
No. He wants to do it because he loves wrestling, but he's not going to do it and sacrifice all the other shit that he has going on just to do a WWE thing.
Pat McAfee's in his 30s, and he already arguably has the #1 sports talk show in the country. He could be on the air on radio for 40 plus years and make millions upon millions of dollars doing so, on top of all the television gigs that he gets. He's doing College Game Day now, which is why he stopped doing SmackDown to begin with. I mean, he'll probably have something to do with the NFL at some point. He doesn't need WWE. So he's sitting this out to see how the dust settles, and then he'll make a decision. Because I think he sees this as something fun. This is a fun little side hustle for him.
Yeah. So that's an Khan interview. Again, nothing too crazy there, but at least a few notes there. They're not that involved. I think was the important part. Also, the Peacock, being open.
What about What about breaking the fourth wall? I wanted to.
Oh yeah. What was that whole thing? That let me get.
So he was talking about sponsorships, and they have something like 13 different corporate sponsors for WrestleMania or something like that, and they're going to integrate some of them into the show, including a Cinnamon Toast Crunch dance routine with some of the WWE superstars. And then also integrating other corporate sponsors in things that will somewhat break the fourth wall. And I'm paraphrasing. All I have to say is thank God for Tony Khan in WWE.
Right. You could have your Cinnamon Toast Crunch fourth wall breaking wrestling. I like professional wrestling.
What the fuck this is.
I'll take
Thank
Bryan
God.
Danielson versus Kenny Omega. You can have this. You can have Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing. I'll take Kenny Omega and Jeff Cobb or whatever.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, yeah. Look, Tony Khan saved pro wrestling in America. I've said it many times, and I'm thankful for that. And it's like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is, but it keeps being driven further and further from what pro wrestling is. And I'm sure we're gonna have plenty to mock on those live instant reactions. As they dealt, and that's what they are now. This is they've outgrown even resembling pro wrestling at this point. And it's just some weird corporate fucking conglomeration of bullshit, and it's so far removed from what wrestling is. And it sounds just what he was talking about here just sounds flat out awful and embarrassing.
Yeah, I love it
where you don't want people in the room with you.
The 13 different like oh my god, you know what I mean? Like all those different advertisers all up and down the show, and that's why these shows take so long as well. And it's why it's just excruciating to watch live WWE shows now, because it's got commercials and concerts and this and the oh man, it's gonna be disgusting this weekend how many things they get. But hey, you know what it tells us one thing is that advertisers really don't give a fuck that Vince McMahon's back either.
That's right.
They don't care. Snickers doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, because the company's not hiding that he's back. I mean, they admit that he's there. They admit he has some level of influence on the creative. They admit that he's spearheading the sale, or what's their term again for it?
Strategic alternatives.
Yeah, they admit that he's spearheading their strategic alternatives. Why can't they just speak English in any regard?
They can't.
Right? They don't speak English on screen. They don't speak English in business. Why must they create their own fucking language for everything? Yeah, and you're right. They don't care. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if, especially in the current social climate we're in, when people care about those sorts of things more than they've ever cared about them before. And we've seen people go down for far less. And I'm not playing abuse Olympics here, but you understand the point I'm making. And it's just wild to me that no one seems to care. They don't care.
No, he's Teflon. We always say Vince is fucking Teflon, man. Nothing sticks to this guy ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like,
we're
if
gonna get
any
a
other
little
company
cinnamon toast
did this,
crunch dance, and
if any other company did this,
matter.
if Adam Silver was like a serial sexual abuser, like, I don't think Kia's like, we'll run the ads in the NBA anyway. Who cares? Like, they'd be destroyed and crucified, and oh my god, I'm never buying a Kia again. And let's have Cinnamon Toast Crunch dancing with the Miz, and that's fine, whatever.
The irony here.
Eat at Arby's. Who cares? Yeah.
The irony here is Vince is saved by the thing he has hated most over the last 4 decades.
Yep.
That professional wrestling is seen as lowbrow hillbilly shit that isn't taken seriously. Something he has fought against unsuccessfully for all of this time. And the proof that he's unsuccessful is that nobody gives a shit about his transgressions, because it's still just pro wrestling. And he has never successfully been able to break out of that. And it's the thing that he will go to his grave deeply regretting that he wasn't able to do. So for people who don't like Vince, and there's plenty of people who don't like Vince, and he did win in a lot of ways. He's the greatest wrestling promoter of all time, most successful wrestling promoter of all time, rich beyond anyone's wildest dreams, seemingly has gotten away with heinous acts year after year after year, starting with covering up Jimmy Snuka's murder of Nancy Argentino, through all of the sexual misdeeds and everything else. Okay. You can maybe take some solace in Vince feeling deep down that he has been a professional failure because he hasn't been able to break that stigma and turn this thing truly into sports entertainment. People might use the buzzword, but at the end of the day, everyone still views it as pro wrestling. And that eats him alive from the inside out.
Right. Every time that his head hits the pillow at night, he's annoyed and disappointed that the only thing he's ever been good at is the thing he hates the most.
Yes.
So take solace in that. Take solace in that. Like I hit my pillow hits when my head hits the pillow. I'm like, I just did a really good podcast. I've got, that's cool. We're really good at this shit. And we're gonna have a whole weekend of WrestleMania Weekend audio. Like he doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like he is annoyed and disappointed. The only thing that he's ever been good at in his entire life is the thing he fucking despises the most.
Yeah. Correct.
So hopefully that helps you sleep at night. But there you go. So that's Nick Khan stuff. Anything else that this week that you wanted to touch on? We wanted to talk on the Moxley. That feels like 5 days ago at this point. I think it actually was on Monday or whatever. But Moxley went on Renee's podcast and talked a little bit about AEW, about the CM Punk comments. Anything from that interview that really stood out to you, or anything that you kind of thought it worth bringing back or discussing? Like, I figured we may as well just hit it real quick, but I didn't really have any super strong thoughts.
He didn't really say much on the Punk stuff. He did not respond to it directly. He just said that he's never seen so much drama in his life. And of course, that's the quote that everybody ran with.
Yeah. 95% of it was positive towards AEW, but that's the quote that everybody brought up because of course, but that's fine.
And that wasn't even necessarily negative. It was just that he's just never seen this level of drama and he doesn't like it and he doesn't want to get roped into it and he refuses to get roped into it. And he didn't respond to this idea that, he said he could have just gone off on a number of people and that probably meant Punk. That probably meant Dave Meltzer. And, it probably meant a number of people. And I just feel like at this point, we went through all the potential, all these different hypotheses last week of what, all this stuff could have meant. And I feel like at this point, after now hearing Moxley's side, that, his whole point here was, if you were reading between the lines, hey, look, I wasn't under contract. I didn't have to do shit. Right. And that's another quote that people ran with completely out of context. Like, oh, Moxley threatened to show up at SummerSlam. No, he didn't. He was making a point that he wasn't obligated to do anything regarding the storyline with CM Punk. But he didn't want to have a contract at that time because in the mental state he was in coming out of rehab, it made him feel he can explain it way better than I can. Just go listen to the conversation.
Yeah, he essentially said that it wasn't like he wanted to have a negotiating battle or a negotiating war or really wanted to go back.
He said that.
Yeah, he said, I just didn't know if I wanted to re-sign for my own well-being. That do I want to go back on the road and sign pen to paper or do maybe I want to take a break or maybe do I want to take some time off? Like, am I going to be healthy enough that if I sign this deal, I can guarantee and promise you that I'm going to be able to fulfill, the contract here. So I'm working without a contract. I don't really have to do anything. To be honest, I could go home if I really wanted to.
And I think that's where Punk took it as this guy said
So that put my piece together from last week that I don't know that Jon Moxley said, I'm not losing to you, but I wonder if Jon Moxley used phrasing as like, I could just go home, man. I don't have to deal with this shit, type of thing that Punk took as, oh, Moxley doesn't want to lose to me. He's going to take his ball and go home or whatever. That's I speak Phil, you know what I mean? Maybe it's the Chicago in me, but I speak Phil. I get him a lot, and I've always kind of got him. So that's what I always thought it was, and I think that kind of confirmed it. That I don't know that Moxley barged into a room and said, I'm not doing the JOB to that guy or whatever. More that, this stuff's annoying. You know what? I can just go home. I don't need this shit type of thing. That Punk then interpreted as Moxley's going to walk out and not do the job to me, which isn't exactly it. You know what I mean? There's a little more nuance to that. Yeah.
And I'm sure when the three of them were in a room arguing about this shit, Moxley may have said, I don't even need to be here. I could just go home. Like, not meaning that he was really going to go home, just trying to make the same point he was making on the podcast. Like, look, man, this doesn't, I don't have to do this, but I'm doing it. I'm willing to do it. And like you're saying, Punk taking it like, oh, well, this guy doesn't want to, because Punk, he creates those own realities in his head, and, so this is why sometimes it's so, not sometimes, every time it's so much more enlightening when you hear everybody's side to these sorts of things. And we were hoping that would break open the dam last week, and it really didn't. We heard from Mox, and that was it. We're never going to hear from Tony Khan. I'm sure people will ask him tomorrow on the presser. He's just going to say, I appreciate that question, but I can't answer it. He's not going to answer it. So if you want to burn off your question on that, go right ahead. But my other takeaways from the Mox thing was it was a very interesting conversation kind of about his wrestling philosophies. And what didn't make a lot of the clickbait kind of stuff and the splash headlines was that, he low-key buried WWE something fierce in the back end of that interview when he was talking about their horrible last man standing matches and how he didn't want his Texas death matches to be that way, with all the stuff that we always complain about, the slow 1,
yeah,
2, and how he's like, we can do them different and make them more violent and more action and and I thought it was an interesting bit too when Gato booked him against Lance Archer. It was supposed to be Falls Count Anywhere, and Moxley was the one who pitched to Archer. He's like, why don't we make it Texas Death? And Archer was down for that, and then he pitched it to Gato. He's like, hey, Lance is from Texas. We can make this a Texas Death match. And he did this great Gato impression. Gato's like, oh, Texas Death, yeah.
Yeah, you're speaking of Memphis Gato over there. He probably fucking loves. Oh yeah.
With the fucking bandana over his eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because he's thinking, fuck yeah. Because you're selling Gato. You're that's not a hard sell. To tell Gato we're gonna go out there and have a Texas Death match, you know what I mean? That's right up Gato's alley for sure.
Yeah, it's not a hard sell for Lance Archer either. It's like you're fucking,
you're Texas born, Texas bred. When you die, you'll be Texas dead. And I'm gonna tell Gato we're gonna go out there and 2 American guys are gonna beat the fuck out of each other and bleed. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough sell for all parties involved.
Yeah, so I thought that was a fun part of the and the other takeaway is he flat out said he'll probably be taking less indie dates this year because he says he puts so much into it that, he last year he was starting to feel it with his body, where there were times where he would book himself on 4 or 5 straight weekends. And then he'd show up on Wednesday and be like, man, I'm feeling those 4 or 5 straight weekends. So he wants to reel that back a little bit. But, he had a lot of good things to say about Sami Callihan's promotion. Obviously they're tag team partners and they're very close. What does he call? Revolver.
Wrestling Revolver.
And I don't know if people, I noted this when I did my year-end awards, and Moxley talked about it on his interview. I don't know if people realize they draw like 4-figure crowds.
They do really good crowds. Moxley. Yeah, they have pretty good shows too, to be honest. Of the stuff I've seen, I like what I see.
Yeah, they crush it, especially when Moxley comes in. And he's got that whole tag team with Callahan. He talked about them. He talked about Defy a little bit, and he loves doing the blood sport, but he flat out said he might do less indies. And I guess the only other big thing was Renee bought a cat, so they have a cat now.
Oh, now you can live your hell. how's your kitty doing after last week's?
I mean, she's kind of cool. I got to be honest. She just I can't do audio without her. Bugging the shit out.
Well, I'm sure she's gonna love WrestleMania weekend. We're gonna be up till 5 a.m. doing audio every single night. So right up her alley, I'm sure.
Well, I'm just gonna have to lock her in another room. I can't. She's a fucking maniac. So, Miss Maggie Moo, she's doing all right. I had to take the dog in today to get 18 teeth pulled.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate getting dogs in for
she's
for
like
teeth.
15 years old,
yeah. And
it's like, is she gonna wake up from the anesthetic? It's like
I have that. I know. That's how I am.
But she's home now, and I'm getting these text messages while we're on the air. She's like, she's been vomiting, so I don't know. We might have to take her back in. This is not good, but not to bring everybody down here with my fucking 15-year-old dog health issues, But yeah, anyway, that was the Moxley thing. And then I guess the only other thing was Kaito Kiyomiya did not make the trip after all to America. Concussion, work, shoot. I don't know.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. Did
I don't know.
Someone say, nah, we don't really want to meet this guy? Or did he realize what the trip was? Like, I'd love to know.
Well,
I'd love to know.
I would assume he'd want to make the trip to sell him. I mean, I was under the assumption he was trying to get in, but maybe, we're being too skeptical here, and maybe the guy just got concussed and was told not to fly. But it looks like Inamura is doing the young boy duties. So maybe Inamura will get hired. Maybe
that would be awesome. NXT 2.0.
Maybe they won't know the difference and just hire him out. Oh, Muto, this is your boy. Oh,
yeah. Right.
A big opportunity for Inamura, right?
Yeah.
So Anyway,
that would be awesome if they signed him.
He's carrying the bags. So,
I mean, he's a stout fella. I could,
Yeah, I don't like that size, right?
Yeah, I think. Like, is he actually big, or is he like big in Japan type of thing?
He's a beefy boy.
I think he's pretty. Say. Yeah, I think he's like 6 foot, probably 2.
I don't know if he's 6 foot. But
well, yeah, maybe not shoot 6 foot.
What's it say on the?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Those are always wrong too. You know what I mean? Like who knows? I feel like he's probably around 5'10", 6 foot, somewhere in that range.
Yoshiki Inamura.
Yeah.
He's listed at 6 foot. I mean, he's got that sumo background. I mean, he's a beefy guy. He's a legitimate beefy boy.
Hire him. That'd be great. Why not?
You know. I mean, he ain't going anywhere in Noah. So
right. It's not the point if they offer a contract, yeah. If Muto puts him over enough as, this is the guy. Is this the guy that you were talking about? Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
like, Muto's not going to give a shit as he's wheeling around in his little wheelchair. Oh, yeah, that's him. Like,
I mean, his going away present was a loss to Saxon Huxley, so he may as well just, look for apartments while he's over here, right?
Yeah, go check out Winter Park, Florida while you're here. So.
I like the guy, but they're never going to push him.
No, hell no. Yeah, he's what, 30 at this point, 30, 31, somewhere in that range. Yeah, if it hasn't happened now, it's not happening anytime soon. So yeah, good for him.
Let's get into these WrestleMania shows.
All right, let's do this. You want to start with Supercard of Honor? Or do you want to go in order? Would you like to go in chronological order?
You know what? We were going to start with, the showcase of the Immortals, Rich, WrestleMania. Did you know? Did you watch Raw, by the way?
I did watch a good amount of Raw this week.
The final stop on the road to WrestleMania. We heard you.
I got it.
We heard you. Yes, this is the final stop to the road to WrestleMania.
Thank you, Corey. I got it, Corey. Thank you.
I fucking hate this company.
They suck. I fucking hate it. It's so bad.
Rich, listen. I skim through every Raw because of this show, because of these duties, these obligations, this job. I skim through every Raw. On the go home shows, I sit down, I take a deep breath, I hit play, and I watch those Raws and those SmackDowns. I'm not doing a bit. I'm not trying to be funny. This is a shoot. I hated my fucking life and wanted to do anything other than what I was doing 6 minutes into this Raw. It annoyed me to the point that I didn't want to watch anymore.
What was the opening? I forget the opening part of this.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay, you remember vividly what did it. Okay. I'm trying to remember, man. What did this Raw start with?
I will tell you, sir.
I remember now. Go ahead. Yes, I'm with you, by the way. I was with you, too.
It was The Miz spinning and pointing.
I came to play. I'm the host of WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, and he's the host of WrestleMania Goes Hollywood.
Yes.
The spin.
Hosting the most must-watch show in WWE history, Miz TV, and they do the crowd fucking participation bit. Then, we get the deadest act on the roster, fucking Damage Control coming out to interrupt Becky and Lita and Trish Stratus, who's looking well, by the way. And
is she?
Trish is looking well.
Trish. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Lita. I don't know if Lita's good.
No, Lita's not looking well. Trish is looking well. I was never into Lita. I'll be honest. That was never my type, right? Like, I get it. Like, if you were like a fucking skater or something, that was probably right up your alley. That's never been my kind of girl. Trish is looking very well, Rich. She's looking very well. This is not a horny podcast.
No, never has.
So, Damage Control comes out, the deadest act on the roster, a total complete Paul Levesque failure.
Dude, have you seen? I cannot wait. We got to talk about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which is basically the Paul Levesque Invitational, the one they're doing on SmackDown. I cannot wait to read you the names that are going to be in this Andre the Giant Battle Royal. But go on.
And this segment, I clicked the DVR to check. I was like, I can't fucking watch 3 hours of this.
It didn't end. It went on for a long time.
So I'm thinking, are we like 20 minutes in? We were 6 minutes into the show, and I had enough. But I powered through on the last stop to the road to WrestleMania, and my God, did this show fucking stink. I don't know how people watch 3 hours of this every week. I cannot fathom how you sit on the couch and watch 3 hours of this awful. It's boring. This show is so fucking boring. It's boring when I fast forward through it every week. Trying to watch this, anytime I've tried to watch a 3 hour Paul Levesque Raw, it's been some of the most boring wrestling television I've ever seen. It's just so dull. Nothing ever happens. The matches stink. None of these angles got me fired up for WrestleMania at all.
Oh, almost trying to falling over, trying to hit Brock Lesnar with a scale. That didn't do it for you?
None of this did it for me. And let me tell you something about this Dom Mysterio, okay? Let me tell you something about Dominic.
Do you care about Dom? You care enough about Dom to do a rant? Oh, okay.
I don't care about him.
Oh.
And, here's the thing. Rich, do you hear the boos they pipe in for this guy?
Oh, I do. Because people were saying, like, he's getting really, people were really starting to hate him. And I watched this Raw, and I was like, you guys realize those are piped in boos, right? Like, those are not real.
They're pressing a fucking button.
Yeah, those aren't real.
I'm not even saying that it isn't a somewhat hot program with Ray. But they are so addicted to fake crowd reactions that they just slap that button all through these shows.
I knew it. I talked about it when they were going back to crowds. I was like, are they ever going to be able to break away from the being able to hit the boo cheer button? And they have not. They clearly are not.
And when you don't watch these shows every week religiously and you're just popping in, it is jarring.
Yes.
How badly they're piping stuff in.
Yep.
This is not a wrestling. He's not wrestling.
And I'm sure he's getting boos. I'm sure he's getting. It's not like nobody in the crowd is booing him, but yeah, it's like vociferous boos. You know what I mean? It's so loud. And I'm like, get out of here. I know though. And
vociferous, fake.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, in the fucking tunnel. They still haven't updated them. They still sound like they're in the fucking tunnel in the Thunderdome, but yeah.
It's like he reads one of those horrible lines that one of those fucking writers wrote for him, and then they just slap the button and it's just boo, like this fake sounding boo.
Yeah, right.
And if you look at the crowd, like no one's
moving.
like,
no one's doing anything.
One's really reacting. Like the body language tells you that no one really cares what's happening. This whole Chelsea Green, that Chelsea Green Sonya Deville versus Candice LeRae Meechin match. Okay. We have our front runner.
There's people that like if they don't watch WWE and they haven't found WWE, they probably think you're just making up names at this point. That you're just putting people together, and they'd be none the wiser. What would you say? It was Chelsea. I'm writing this down. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, hair up, square up, right?
Oh no, they're doing a Karen gimmick.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, she's not. She's
versus Candice LeRae and Meechin. Okay, this is the Clubhouse leader for worst match of the year. This was Amateur Hour. And there's some people in here. Well, there's a person in here who's better than that. Chelsea Green fucking stinks.
Oh, she's been bad forever.
She's never been good.
Never good.
She's never been good. Sonya Deville's not exactly Akira Hokuto. Okay, let's be honest.
It's not Aja Kong walking through that door either. Yeah.
And this match was so bad. No reaction. The crowd didn't give a fuck. And this was for a spot in the 19-team women's tag team fucking shoe. They might as well call that the shoehorn match at WrestleMania, where they're just wedging people in. Not Candice and Meechin, though. They won't be there. This was so offensively bad. And people who, it's just, people don't really, like, people who watch WWE are never going to point that kind of thing out, right? But it's like, and no one else watches. So shit like this doesn't get the attention it deserves for being as awful as it was. I mean, it was just terrible. This show was such a fucking bore. I mean, Gunther squashing Dolph Ziggler. Why don't they just let Dolph Ziggler move on with his life?
I know. Please fire this man. Please let this guy move on, and replace him with one of these NXT guys. Like, come on, what are we doing? Let Grayson Waller take that spot. You can pay Grayson Waller 1/900th of what you're paying Dolph Ziggler. Just come on.
Yeah. No, just the Raw fucking stunk.
Yeah, Cody and Solo was fine. You know what I mean?
It was fine. It was just such a, like, it was a Chat GPT wrote out. Write me an example of how a WWE main event television match will be like, and that's what this was. It was just, it was fine. It was there. It existed. Cody's over like a motherfucker, though.
Yeah, they're not piping in cheers for that guy. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you what they're piping in. I think they're enhancing the whoa.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I rewound that a couple times. Look, I'm not saying people aren't doing it. And it's very smart to make that a thing. Right? I always say, in modern WWE, your best weapon is a sing-along fucking entrance theme.
Oh, it's Seth Rollins totally transformed his career.
Yeah. It gave Bobby Roode a career. He wouldn't even work there. Does he work there?
He does. Yeah, the dog. Yeah, the dogs. You forget about the dogs. Come on, man. Yeah, he still works there. I think he's hurt or something. Who knows? But yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, but I mean, and it totally saved Seth Rollins after the Eater of Worlds almost fucking ended his fucking,
yeah.
Like,
hey, where is that guy, by the way? I'm looking at this Mania. Where is
something's going on with him. Like, I don't know. I'm going to be careful with that one because I think he has some kind of, there's something going on with him. So, a nice break for the rest of us. We don't have to watch some terrible fucking Fiend Bray Wyatt WrestleMania match, but people are being real secretive about that one, so I think something's going on with him. Which means that, and they didn't find, I don't think they found anything else for Bobby Lashley at this point.
They did not. He is in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Anyway, since I ended up talking about Raw, let's, I guess, start with WrestleMania.
We may as well. Well, real quick, I'm going to talk about SmackDown here because this is the, I mentioned the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is on SmackDown. This is the Paul Levesque Invitational in all ways, shapes, and forms. Here are the names that are going to be battling in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is not even on WrestleMania anymore, which is on SmackDown, which is also being shoehorned in with the Hall of Fame as well. Okay.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Names announced right now. Santos Escobar, Joaquin Weil, Cruz del Toro, Mace, Mansoor, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Angel, Humberto, Ashante the Adonis, Top Dollar, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Loomis, Butch, Ridge Holland, Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Rick Boogs, Elias, Xavier Woods, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, Karrion Kross, Baron Corbin, Bronson Reed, Madcap Moss.
So Bobby Lashley either has to win or they do a big angle, right?
I would hope, yeah.
He's in there with every geek on the roster.
Yeah, I don't think Boogs is winning this one.
A
lot of Infinity Stone people in that match. That's all I'm saying. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, Paul. I mean, Damage Control is an utter and complete failure. And if you look at those Infinity Stone memes, how many of those people he brought back are in not just prominent spots at WrestleMania, but any spot at all? How many of them? I think the answer is zero. Right?
I think the answer as we go through WrestleMania card will be zero. Let's keep that in mind and see who's a Paul guy or girl.
Because with Bray off dealing with whatever he's dealing with, I don't think a single one of those people on that meme.
I think it is. There's one that I can. One.
Oh well, I guess. The Damage Control, 1/3 of Damage Control, right?
Yeah, so you got one. Okay, so there's two. There's yeah. So you got Dakota Kai for sure,
right? Who's getting pinned, by the way?
I guess Io. For sure, absolutely. She is.
Io never left.
Yeah,
Io never
that's
left.
true. She never. Yeah. Dakota Kai is going to meet some satisfaction for sure on Saturday. So, or the man is going to have her way with one Dakota Kai. But yeah, and then also
Becky Lynch, big time Beck's not exactly in a big time spot at WrestleMania, huh?
And then Braun Strowman, he's teaming with Rick O'Shea in the men's WrestleMania showcase. Yes, that's a tag team, by the way. Rick O'Shea and Braun Strowman. So
2 Infinity Stone geeks on the entire WrestleMania card. Remember, these were big, high impact returns, Rich.
Yeah, Ashante the Adonis.
Rich, what's top dollar?
Well, as far as I can tell, he is in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I'm not sure what else he is doing. The complete card for a night 2 of WrestleMania Goes Hollywood is not fully formed just yet. So I suppose there could still be some moving and shaking. They could get top dollar, some top billing at WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, but
I don't know. I would suggest soaking in that WrestleMania moment because it
at the Crypto.com arena because he ain't wrestling in SoFi Stadium for sure.
Might be the last one. All right, so I don't know.
You ready to go Hollywood? The most must see WrestleMania in history. Hosted.
Let's do the 1 to 10.
All right, let's do 1 to 10. Yeah, this is hosted by The Miz, by the way. So how excited are you for at least 9 different Miz segments over the weekend?
He's gonna dance with cereal.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So 1 to 10,
and he does that dumb walk. He's got that weird strut walk that he does,
spinning and pointing.
God,
so 1 to 10, meaning 10 is the most highly anticipated match you can think of. It's Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi. It's it's one
the
of the most
pinnacle.
anticipated.
It's the pinnacle of the sport.
You cannot fucking wait to see the match. 1 means you have no interest in it whatsoever, and we are allowed to go off the board with
if something truly gets us. Yes, yeah,
that's right. You can go 0, but you're supposed to save those for special occasions. So we'll do 1 to 10 for both nights of WrestleMania. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Well, unfortunately, we only have 1 match for night 2, so that will be quick. But we have a bunch of other shows. Night 1, or sorry, WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Saturday.
Yes.
Austin Theory versus John Cena for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Well, we've got John Cena return. I saw some people bandying about that this WrestleMania is going to break the ticket sale record with the 2 shows and be the most successful WrestleMania of all time. And they've done it without any old stars or part-timers. And I'm looking at this show and I'm like, what the fuck? John Cena is on this show.
John Cena, Trish Stratus, Lita.
Yeah,
okay.
Trish Stratus is on this show. So I don't know how true that is.
He's actually regular, I guess. So.
It doesn't get any bigger than John Cena.
Right. Yeah. I feel like people are forgetting that John Cena is. They're like, oh, they did it without The Rock and they did it without. Well, no, they have John Cena on the show.
Yeah.
The biggest star they've had in the last 20 years. Yeah, no, that counts. That does count.
Now, do I think they need him? I don't. I mean, if I'm being fair, these goons are going to buy tickets to WrestleMania no matter. They don't give a fuck.
Oh, no. Yeah, they don't care.
So, these people watch 3-hour Raws every week. They're not the brightest bulbs. They're going to go to these shows. They don't care who's on the show. Okay, so John Cena versus Austin Theory. I don't know. It's John Cena. I guess I'm mildly interested in the finish and whether they put Austin Theory over or continue the Vince McMahon typical, let's just completely humiliate a guy for 7 years and then decide to push him.
Yeah, and it's going to work, even though it's never worked ever, but it's going to work this time, I'm sure of it.
So for those reasons, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm exactly. That's what I wrote down, 5. Just because I want to see how it finishes. I want to see if Cena's actually that into it, or if he's just going to win the title and run off to a car that's started in the back, because he's doing night 1. You know what I mean? Like, he's getting in and out of that. He is not doing night 2. Probably not sticking around for the entire weekend. Probably this match is going to be very early in night 1, I'd imagine. So I think he's run out to a waiting car one way or another, whether he's winning or losing. And I'm kind of fascinated. I think that they'll probably, because having Austin Theory go out there and just beat John Cena, that's a pretty, I don't know what that means anymore in 2023, but I still think that's got relative significance. And I, knowing how they book, I bet Cena beats Theory, and at some point Theory gets his win back, but at that point, doesn't matter or not. Who knows?
If this were Japan, this would be called the Vince McMahon offer match. This John Cena Austin Theory
Yes.
bout. That's what this would be. Did you see Austin Theory's awful empty arena promo?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes.
Just terrible stuff. Just awful. Just terrible, terrible stuff. If I know I really don't like to play this game, and I know that people get annoyed at stuff like this, but I've been annoying people for 12 years. Rich, if that Austin Theory empty arena promo, or that Chelsea Green tag team match, or that awful like damage control segment or whatever, if any of these things aired on Dynamite, we'd still be talking about it a week and a half later about how bad it was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why is it that this bullshit slides?
Yeah, they
when it's
can
on
fucking
Monday Night
suck
Raw?
shit and nobody cares. But yeah,
like
11
could you
minutes of Dynamite
imagine?
aren't good, and we just talk about Matt Hardy for 3 straight weeks. We talk about Ethan Page and Matt Hardy for like yeah, I don't know.
The bar is just under the fucking earth with this company. No one cares that these shows are just awful up and down the card. As long as they get their Bloodline community theater at the end, they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
that the
as long
rest
as
of this
Edge
is
goes
awful.
to that place and they get their community theater, they're all good. So
Yeah. Anyway, next match.
Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul.
I like Logan Paul.
I do too.
More news this week. He says his contract's up after this match against Seth Rollins. Look, I think they're going to have a great match. So this might be my second most anticipated match at WrestleMania. I'm going to go 7 on Seth Rollins.
All right. Well, here so if in a perfect world, if this match began when the two men entered the ring and when the bell rang, I would be with you. I'd say yes, that has a chance to be really good. The problem though is it's Seth Rollins in this current iteration of whatever his character is. This is the entrance alone is going to take like 25 minutes, right? The singing of the song, him dancing around with some coat on. I'm already annoyed. It hasn't even happened. I'm already fucking annoyed. And I just want him to wrestle.
You're not going to be singing along in your living room?
No, I think anybody who's caught singing along to that song needs to be put on a list immediately.
You're not curious what kind of wacky outfit?
Oh, is
Seth
it
will
gonna
wearing?
be flamingo colored or is it gonna be gold? Oh, I can't wait to see it with his weird glasses. He goes the entire time. I fucking hate it. And that's, you know what, Joe? I would say I would like this match, but the problem is Freakin's gonna go like 25 times during the fucking match, and I already hate it. 1, fuck off. Get off my TV, Rollins. Go away.
Yeah, this is a problem in wrestling in general, but even in this company where it's more cartoonish and, you know, they allegedly love to tell stories and everything, there's no heels. You know what I mean? Like, they all sing
Like
along
the
the
top
Seth
heel
song.
has the entire crowd pointing up in the sky every time.
Yeah, like Roman, you know, the whole idea behind Roman is that he's gaslighting and manipulating everybody around him to keep his spot on top, and that's supposed to be the heat. And every time he comes out, he demands that 10,000 people acknowledge him, and then they do it.
And then they all do
like,
it.
The Roman Reigns character is such an effective gaslighter and manipulator that he's gaslit and manipulated the entire WWE fan base. They treat him like they acknowledge him. Like, the idea is you're supposed to boo him when he says that. Like, I'm not acknowledging you.
Yeah,
You're a
why do
piece
I
of
owe
shit.
you anything? Yeah, fuck you. Why do I owe you anything? You know, fuck you.
You're manipulating your family, and you're cheating to stay on top, and you're insecure, and you're demanding that we but then they do it.
Then they all put
all
their
stick their
fingers in the
finger in the air, and they do it. Like, there's no heels. They actually do acknowledge him when that's supposed to be the heat. And this is cinema. This is the greatest story ever told. And there's 10,000 dolts in these buildings every Friday who don't even understand the fucking story. It's such a great story, none of them get it. We didn't even get to that match yet, and I'm fired up.
So I would love to say that the bell to bell of Rollins and Paul will probably be good, but I think all the other stuff that comes with freaking, it just annoys me to absolute. I can't take it. So no, not that into it. 6-woman tag team match: Trish, Lita, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control. The coldest as ice. These fucking dorks come out and just get beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten, and we're supposed to take them seriously.
I have a question. Does Paul Levesque hate women?
He doesn't book them very well, Joe. If we're to assume that Paul Levesque, because I'm being told by all these people that Vince isn't in the room. Paul Levesque's the head of creative. Okay, then why do all the women's matches fucking suck? I mean, this is brutal builds for all the women's matches. Brutal.
This is what we're getting out of Becky Lynch. This is what we're getting out of Becky Lynch. Working with nostalgia acts against an ice cold dead group that needs to be split up. That's what we're getting out of Becky Lynch. That's the best thing you can do with big time Becks. Yeah. Probably curtain jerking too, if we're being honest. Like, this is worse. That's actually worse. It's actually probably going to be worse. They usually curtain jerk with an important match in WWE.
I still think Austin Theory and I think Austin and John, because I think John's out of there. I think that private plane's waiting for him, and he's gonna, and he's into that fucking jet, and he's out of there. Bye.
No, yeah. So like that, the term curtain jerk, like in the old day, and even in still some promotions today, like your prelim matches go out first. But WWE doesn't do that. They usually send out an important match first. Like right. So this will be like match number 3 on night 1,
right? Which is the death spot, Hollywood. Which is the worst spot to be in.
Which is their version of the curtain jerker match, and that's what big time Bex is getting this year. And then we have the Asuka fucking Bianca Belair thing, which is just fucking irredeemably awful. One of the worst
they cannot keep wasting Bianca Belair like they're doing here. I can't believe they're still doing this.
Well, Paul Levesque is a great booker. He's tremendous at his job, and
she is not as young as people think she is. That's the thing about her too.
She's not. She's in her 30s.
She is 33 years old. I looked this up earlier because they have fucking danced around with her and done a bunch of. She's 33. The prime is we're there. You know what I mean? That we're in it. Like, what are you doing? And she's still all that made her all that's her, that confidence, that swagger, that's every build that they have for her, whether it's Vince bad boo or Paul Paul's good, she's just like this scared, confused, like, can I just have Bianca Belair say I'm the fucking best and you're not gonna beat me with this? You can spit goo all you want, but I'm the fucking best and I'm gonna beat your ass at WrestleMania. Can I get that?
It's been a awful, indefensible build. The Charlotte match is not worthy of the main event slot. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. It's just a total, they feel like they have to put a women's match in that spot, which, okay, fine. How about get one hot enough
right,
to
make
where
a
it
hot
feels
match.
like it belongs there?
Yeah, make a hot match.
And none of these matches are hot. Ronda Rousey is just a person on the roster, and she's starting to get vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of that's on her. That's not totally on.
No, she's shit the bed a lot. She's shit the bed a lot lately.
She has shit the bed a lot, and they've stopped booking her like she's special. They have dropped the ball with every women's star in this company right now. Every one of them. Every single one.
Well, I'm choosing to blame Vince for that. So.
Well, yeah. Well, if it's bad, it's Vince.
Right. So I have decided that that's Vince.
If it's good, which is like one thing, that's Paul.
Right. Even though that story began under Vince and is probably mostly written by Paul Heyman, I'm still giving that to Paul too.
Began under Vince.
Paul Levesque.
Oh, but when Sammy got involved. Oh, wait. Sammy got involved. Darn.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, nevertheless.
That's fine. Even Dominic Ray was planted under Vince. I mean, the whole idea was waiting for them to break up, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, did we give? What was the match we were discussing?
I'm a 1 for Trish, Lita, Becky versus Damage Control. I mean, come on, 1.
0. I have absolutely.
Oh, off board. You going off board already?
Who could possibly fucking care about any of this?
I don't care.
Trish is looking well, and I'll enjoy watching Trish look well.
You'll enjoy the push-up bra that she'll be employing at WrestleMania.
This is not a horny podcast.
No.
But I will enjoy watching Trish look well.
Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Paul, you got nothing better for Brock either? Like, this is it? Or is this Vince too? Because it's bad, so I think it must be Vince then.
Yeah.
So Vince must have done a lot with night one, I guess.
Now, you know I love Brock. But.
I was hoping you did it, but.
You know I love me some Brock Lesnar. You're nodding. But. Yeah. I can't get into Omos. I can't talk myself into this.
He can't do anything. Okay, I will give you a high rating for this one because this could be an absolute disaster. Because every segment they've had, they just trip over each other the whole time. And it's not like we're asking for, Vikingo Kenny Omega type stuff out here. It's like almost run at Brock and clothesline him, and they're like falling over each other. So I'm like, and I'm imagining that Brock's going to get pissed at some point during whatever this is. Now, he might show up at the arena and say, like, no, I beat that dude in 25 seconds and I get out of here. We're not having a match. We can't have a match. If they actually try to have, and that would be fun. I would enjoy that. But if they actually do have a match, I am interested in it from the standpoint of this could be, it could get fun bad real quick. Not selling it.
I really like Brock. I'm gonna go 3. I mean,
it's still Brock.
I just can't get into Omos. I can't get into
that's why I think like the best scenario is the bell rings. He just picks him up, F5s him, pins him, 1, 2, 3. Get out of here.
That would be great. And that would be like a spectacle. Here's the thing about this WrestleMania. There's not going to be a lot of good wrestling on this thing. There almost never is. But the other thing that I'm not seeing at this WrestleMania, last year's WrestleMania had a lot of shit that was fun. Okay? You had the Kevin Owens thing with Stone Cold. You had the fucking Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Last year was a spectacle in a lot of ways. And there's not a lot of that on this show either.
No, not even a lot of potential WrestleMania moments either. So I guess that Vince was a moment creator. I don't know what Triple H creates, but it doesn't seem to be good.
This is really all about Cody and Roman Reigns. This is Cody and Roman Reigns.
It's a one-match weekend, pretty much.
And look, I'm sure some of this other shit will be, interesting or, and WrestleMania is always going to be a spectacle to some degree, but I'm not seeing a lot of great wrestling, and I'm not seeing a lot of, like shit that can be, interesting the way that it was last year. Because I didn't bury those shows last year. I didn't think they were great shows, but I thought the one night with all the wacky stuff
there was a ton of energy. The WrestleMania, there was a palpable energy with all of those shows.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's no energy for this one. Bianca and Asuka, we talked about that. I mean, just fucking awful. 1. I'm gonna 1 again. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm gonna 1. The build has been so horrendously awful, and I even think WWE hardcores have acknowledged that.
Yeah, they have. I've seen a lot of like, what are they doing with Bianca type of stuff? Like, Bianca's better than this. Asuka's better than this. What are we doing here? So
maybe they have a great match. I mean, they could have a great match.
Oh, they're definitely capable of it. But yeah, the build has been atrocious. It's just what are you doing? But yeah. Then finally, the main event, which, boy, Charlotte and Rhea does not feel like a main event at all in any level whatsoever.
It doesn't feel like a main event because it isn't a main event.
Yeah, and
it hasn't been built like a main event.
People pretend that this Rhea stuff is like, and it's whatever, the mommy stuff. But again, it's kind of meme types. Like, I thought she was in a better place a couple years ago when she was just an ass kick. You know what I mean? She was just that was her gimmick, and that's what it. Now it's like, she's kind of a sideshow. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't feel like a true, like, somebody that's competing for a championship in the main event of the biggest show of the year. You know what I mean? Like, she still feels like a part of Judgment Day, a part of Dominic's, right hand, that sort of stuff. And it's like, nah, man, this is a big moment. This is she should have kicked those guys to the curb and said, no, I'm not dealing with you guys this month. Like, I'm going to WrestleMania, the main event, and I'm going to go for the championship. I'm not dealing with this mommy shit. I'm not dealing with Dom and Ray. You know what I mean? I got bigger things to worry about. I'm going for the championship. But instead, she just felt like a complimentary act of this stable. And I don't think that's good. And then Charlotte, like, dude, who could possibly give a fuck about Charlotte in 2023? I mean, it's not me. And I think she's regressed a lot, Charlotte. Like, I haven't liked a lot of, like, Charlotte used to be good. There used to be a fun aspect of her matches. Did she fuck up some stuff? She did. But that made it fun. You know what I mean? Like, that made it kind of good. And the matches with Sasha and the matches with Bayley and stuff, they were all good. The Becky ones, of course, were all solid. But man, I haven't liked a match of hers in probably since the last Rhea Ripley match. I didn't even like that match either. Remember, we kind of talked about that during the pandemic, the 2020 Mania and how it was booked. Like I have not seen it with Charlotte in a very long time. So I hate to tell you, but I'm at about a 2 for this match. It's not doing much for me at all.
Yeah, I'm at a 1. I don't care about this match at all. Did you see Charlotte lose her composure on SmackDown last week?
Yeah, she can't handle it anymore. She's like lost the ability to. She feels like she thinks she's above all this right now. She's really taken on the personality of her lover there, who also feels like he's above everything. But yeah, she just feels like she's got this fucking like I don't know. There's this aura about, and she always did. Like let's not
Well, she's always been treated that way.
She's always been treated that way, and she's always kind of had that. But I feel like it's been ramped up to 10 recently, and now she just doesn't give a fuck and thinks this is beneath her, and treats the job like that this is beneath her. So it makes for pretty bad matches and pretty bad television. So I don't know.
It's an unworthy main event, and look, we said it at the time after Elimination Chamber. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Sami Zayn is going to be third from the top at WrestleMania Weekend Sunday. I think that was our exact words, and he's going to like it. Okay? He's not getting a main event. He had his little match against Roman. He got his little pat on the head, and like we said, no main event.
Mm-hmm.
People said, "Oh no, he'll be the main event." No, come on. We all knew he wouldn't be the main event if you're paying attention. And here we are. He's going to be right where we said he was going to be. Remember when I said Bald would finish 7th in most outstanding, and I think he finished 6th? Well, we nailed it. We nailed another one, Rich. They're going to be third from the top on fucking WrestleMania Goes to Hollywood Sunday, and it's bullshit. And and again, Sammy has cooled off to some degree, like we also said would happen when they beat him. Those quarter hours aren't popping the way they used to. Even though, the crowds are very hot for him and Kevin Owens teaming together. I guess I'm jumping ahead. We didn't even get to that match.
Well, that match, we could now because that is TBD. The rest of the matches, so now we know night 2. We'll do that at the end. That'll be Roman and Cody. But the rest of these, we don't know what night these matches are on. So the Usos and
the point here is that match should be main eventing the other night.
Yes, it should. But they're too scared to do it, and they had to force a women's match in there. But again, Unky Paul isn't very good at booking women, so the main event is a cold as fuck match that's probably not going to be very good. So cool, great.
Right. Yeah. But the second hottest match in the company is Sammy and KO versus the Usos. How can that even be in dispute? But we knew this was going to happen. This is exactly how we knew it was going to play out. Go listen to the tape. So I guess we'll just do that match.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that one a 7.
Yeah, I'm at about a 6 or 7 for that one. I'll go 7 to meet you there.
Got to keep it at arm's length, though. There's going to be a lot of fucking community theater going on.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially in that match. So
a lot
that's
of faces,
storytelling
a lot of faces getting made, a lot of Sammy, snarling at an Uso. Yeah, plenty of that.
Yeah, I mean, and
Wise Man probably. Well, you think the Wise Man will be there, or you think it'll be totally focused on Roman?
I don't know. I mean, you think you want to just get the happy ending, right? And beat the Usos. That's the right thing to do. A part of me would like Kevin Owens to kick Sami Zayn in the dick
and turn on him. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, just do Naruki Doi Masato Yoshino and just do it 1,000 times over and just keep turning on.
Yeah, Sting versus Flair. Right? Yeah, same thing.
Right, but yeah. The match that should be main eventing, yeah, that's what this one is.
Oh, they should recreate. I forget what it was. Was it Clash of the Champions? I forget what it was. There's it was mid-90s Ric Flair versus Sting, or Ric Flair and Sting were on a tag team. I want to say against I got to find this match, or someone in the know chat was going to say it, and it's awesome. Like Sting sells the first 10 minutes of the match, and the entire time Ric Flair's on the corner being like, "Stinger, I'm right here, baby, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Like, tag me, Stinger, I'm right here." The entire time he's like, "Hang in there, I'm still here," whatever. And finally, Sting gets up, tags Ric Flair. The crowd goes, "Yeah!" They both stand up, and Ric Flair just turns around and decks him. It's just like the best. I love it. Yeah,
it was fantastic.
And then starts strutting, just like, "Yeah, motherfucker, you thought I was gonna help you? Get out of here, Sting. I'm never gonna help you."
Would KO kicking him in the dick really be? Let's talk through this. Would that even necessarily be bad? I mean, that's a nice direction to come out of, because then you could just have those two feud, right?
Right. for sure.
And build to a big match at SummerSlam or something. I mean, it's not like the worst idea.
No, it's not. No, it really is not. Yeah, like, I mean that in all sincerity. Like, because the big story is going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end of this weekend, the fracturing of the bloodline. And you don't need Owens and Zayn for that. They can go off and do their own little thing. You know what I mean?
Doing their own thing. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I'm saying.
There's no story. If they win the tag team titles, it's like, all right, cool.
Right.
Now what? These guys exist to feud with each other.
Then they're taking on the Viking Raiders on Raw on Monday.
Right.
Braun,
Strowman, and Ricochet are the next competitors to come down to challenge. They'll do like the Hiroki Goto after a big time. Owens and Zayn are celebrating in the middle of the ring, and all of a sudden, here come Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Like, we want the next shot at those tag team titles.
A hot feud with Eric and Ivar is in the cards for them.
Chad Gable, who's short again, by the way. They like to tell you that.
Do you know?
Short.
Do you know? Now you could guess, of course, but just be honest with me. Do you know which is Eric and which is Ivar?
Okay, I do know this recently, and I don't remember how, but there was like some discussion. I was listening to a podcast, and they did the exact same thing, and the host was like, "Oh no, oh god, and I do remember it. Eric is Rowe, and Ivar is whatever the other guy's original name was, Hansen or whatever. Yeah.
When you watch. Do you do like me and just in your head it's just Ray Rowe and Warbeard Hansen?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, because I don't know Eric and Ivar. Like if I said Eric and Ivar, yeah. When
I watch, it's like I'm just like, oh, Ray Rowe is in the ring, and then when they say like, oh, it's Ivar, I'm like, oh yeah, they're not Ray Rowe and Hansen anymore.
Right.
They're Eric and Ivar. This company fucking stinks.
Viking Experience, the Viking Raiders. Yeah, it's good, great company.
It's the drizzling shits. This fucking company. What's next?
Well, let's talk about drizzling shits here. Hell in a Cell. Edge.
Oh God.
Who is going to that place versus the Demon, and Edge. They've made many mentions of the Brood. Edge. Okay, can I do something real quick?
Sure.
We gotta stop retconning the Brood. We have to. I know you weren't alive. I know you weren't watching. You were very much alive. I know you weren't watching much Attitude Era WWF. The Brood.
A lot of people listening to this weren't alive. That's how long ago.
It was very long ago. First off, so they're taking something from a very long time ago and pretending that everybody knows what it is. They don't. The Brood.
It's like a quarter century ago.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. I was like 11 or 12, and I'm now 36. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm significantly older than I was when the Brood was at their peak. We got to stop retconning the Brood. We have to stop pretending the Brood was a big deal. We have to stop pretending Edge and the Brood was a big deal. We just have to. I'm sick of it. I can't have it happen anymore. It's one thing to pretend Edge.
Tom Brady was at Michigan.
Right. Yeah, probably like a freshman in Michigan or whatever. Hasn't even anywhere near graduating. We got to stop this.
Tom Brady was getting benched by Lloyd Carr when the Brood was a thing.
We have to stop. We just have to. It's ridiculous. Like, first off, it's bad enough that we pretend Edge is a big star when he never was a big star. And that's been proven time and time again as he's just a ratings disaster everywhere he goes. But like this retconning that the Brood Edge was like a significant thing or we need to stop. The Brood they had fire and they had cool music, and that was it. They were dorks and they were geeks, and Edge was a lackey for Gangrel. And by the time you remember them doing anything, they weren't in the Brood anymore. Edge debuts. The Brood feuds with Edge for a while. Edge and Christian feud with each other for a little while. That was okay. Edge was doing some okay stuff at that time, whatever. He joins the Brood. He's just a dude. He's just the third guy in the Brood. And then they don't do shit. Then they're part of the Ministry of Darkness. And then they leave the Brood. And that's, people could say, well, what about No Mercy? They weren't a part of the Brood in the ladder match with the Hardy Boys. Because the Hardy Boys were the new Brood. Okay? So you're talking about, at most, you're talking about a couple of months in like mid-1998 until early 1999 where they were dorks and they were geeks. We need to stop this. We have to. We cannot keep pretending the Brood Edge thing or the Brood was a big deal. We can't. We just can't do this anymore.
I would counter with Edge is a dork and a geek now. So maybe this is the Brood version.
Great. Well, good. Edge. Yeah. Because I saw people being like, they gotta let Christian be there for this moment. No, if I'm Christian, I'm outworking everybody by saying, no, I'm good, man. I'm okay.
Isn't Christian a free agent?
I don't know.
wasn't his contract coming due? I mean, I know he's selling the coffin loss at the moment. Like, I get that. But anyway, yeah, no. Look, this is dork fucking city, this match.
Just lights and red and fucking zero.
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 This is Jim Otto. It's 00. Put this fucking match under the grounds. I can't. I cannot. This is the epitome of WWE bullshit. And listen, the crowd will probably eat this up. This will be a hot match. They'll love it. There'll be special effects. The Demon's heart will beat. Whatever the fuck. There'll be lots of shenanigans. But this is not for me. I am not looking forward to watching these shows, especially after
listen to us
Raw.
this weekend. Patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling, VoicesOfWrestling.com/Patreon, flagship Patreon.com. Instant reactions after both of these hot shows that we're talking about right here. I guess it'll be fun to listen to us bury them, I guess, in one way or shape or form. But
or maybe it'll be good. Maybe we won't bury them.
Well, I will say one thing that was I realized last year was the best way for me to consume a WrestleMania, because I was in Alaska during last year's WrestleMania weekend. Of course I was. So I woke up every morning and watched like the mornings of these two WrestleManias and watched them, but I could skip all the entrances. I was done with the Manias in like an hour and 45 minutes. These shows are, if you skip the entrances and the Miz dancing with Cinnamon Toast Crunch and all this other bullshit and all the video packages or whatever, you can get through with these shows in like less than 2 hours.
All these WWE fans want to do, though, is sing along with entrances.
Exactly. They don't like
finishes.
the matches. The matches are boring. They don't react during matches anymore.
They just sit there and it's so you're like, it's no wonder that don't really like this stuff, because you don't like all the things that they emphasize.
Gunther defending the IC title against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, Joe, in a triple threat match.
Yeah, I hate that they did this. I would just much rather just have
any combination
Sheamus
of these guys in a singles match would be better.
Yeah, and really, the reason they did this is because they had nothing for Drew and they had to shoehorn him in. Because the story here is Sheamus going for the one title he's never won. So I'd rather just have Sheamus versus Walter and then have Drew do something else. But they didn't have anything else for Drew. So, they worked him in there because he had been teaming with Sheamus. So, look, this has a chance to be hard-hitting and very good. I would have much preferred the more straightforward story of Sheamus chasing the title against Gunther, a guy who he has a history with, and we had that great match with at the Seizing the Castle or whatever it was. But they had to get Drew in there somehow, I guess. I mean, so that mitigates my excitement, but I will still go like 6 or 7 for this.
Yeah, I'm still a 7, because at the end of the day, like, these guys are going to go out there and just beat the living shit out of each other, and this is all I want out of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want like a triple threat match with these three, but like these guys just going in there, the bell ringing, and them just beating the fuck out of each other. That's what I want. And I'm guessing we're not going to get a whole lot of like, Sheamus does a bro kick and then Gunther slides out of the ring and then Sheamus and Drew McIntyre fight each other for 10 minutes. I hope not. Maybe they do, because that tends to be the house style for these three-way dances or whatever. But I do hope that there's a little bit of just like all three in there just beating the fuck out of each other. But yeah, I gotta like something on these shows. I gotta look forward to something, and this is the one thing that I am definitely looking forward to. Let's do these real quick, and then we'll talk about the final two matches. We have the Women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Match. Joe, you ready for all these names?
God. No.
Liv Morgan, fresh off 4 or 5 different star-making performances, will team with Raquel Rodriguez to take on the formidable duo of Natalya and Shotzi, who will also be there with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And then, like you said, the Team Karen, Chelsea Green, and Sonya Deville, who qualified on Raw this past week.
Unless you're related to any of these people,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Zero.
How is this not a 0?
Zero.
It's a 0. You can't possibly give a fuck about any of this or any of these people unless like you're their parents.
If you Liv Morgan's like cousin or something, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's see what Gianna's got doing at WrestleMania. So, and then the men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Match. We got to watch these.
Oh,
God damn it.
God, I cannot fucking.
Braun Strowman and Rick O'Shea versus the Street Profits. I can't believe you can't find anything better for Montez Ford. What are we doing here? Paul? Really? The same thing that we've done with Montez Ford for all this. Angelo Dawkins is good too. He's just wearing his little basketball jersey, doing his stuff. Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis and the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. I feel like these same teams have. Who fucking cares? Good God.
Multiple zeros, man. Multiple
Zero.
Zeros. This is like
God.
This is like my third or fourth zero. No one can possibly care. Can we get Otis off my fucking screen?
Yeah, what are we doing with like why? In any other era, half these guys would be fired all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that in a good way. Like, cycling guys in and out is healthy and good. Like, we're what, 4 years into the Otis thing, 5 years into the Otis thing. Like, come on.
Remember that one guy on Twitter who told me Otis had more charisma than Okada?
I do remember that. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Oh my God, Twitter! What a fucking disaster.
God, fucking guy.
Let's see.
I think it was a subtweet. You're not going to find it. But that was a real thing. But no, who could possibly give a fuck about this? You can't give a fuck about it.
Oh yeah, maybe it was a subtweet. Yeah, I can't find the exact. So
I've had enough of Gable too. I've
had he's a geek. He's a geek. Because I've seen people be like, "Oh, AEW should get him." I'm like, "No, he's been a dork for like 7 years now. No, I'm good. Go away."
Do you really want Chad Gable in AEW?
No.
To do what? To do what? What's he gonna do?
Yeah, there are numerous wrestlers as good as Chad Gable in the world that are unsigned. So I'm good.
Yeah, I've had enough of that guy too. Shoosh, get lost. Fucking
Shorty
garbage
G.
gimmick.
Shorty G. Get the fuck out of here.
Annoying.
All right. Well, surely this can't be a zero. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio.
Oh God, it's a fucking zero. What do you mean?
You don't care about this match?
No, I will never care about Dominic. And I don't give a fuck about this melodramatic father versus son bullshit. I can't. No, Rich. No, I do not.
You don't align with Rey Mysterio saying she may be your mother, but she's my wife.
I don't even care about Rey Mysterio anymore. I've had enough of Rey Mysterio.
With 20 straight years of Rey Mysterio, you're tired of him now? What the hell?
I would be perfectly fine with never watching Rey Mysterio wrestle again. Is that a hot take?
I'm good.
I don't care about Rey Mysterio.
I'm good. I'm all right. I had like 10 years where Rey Mysterio was really, really good, and I really liked him. But yeah, that ended in like 2004. So I'm good. I think I'm all right.
Like I'm not begging the guy to retire. Like if he left the company and went somewhere else, it's not like I'd hate it. But my point here is, would I be okay with never seeing him wrestle again? Yes. The answer is yes. I don't care about Rey Mysterio anymore. And I will never care about Dominic. Never will care about Dominic. Ever.
I regret to inform you that, Joe, I am also a zero for Rey and Dominic. Man, these shows. I didn't really realize they were as dire as they are. Night 2, though, we will know the main event of this one, and I do think we're going to do more than zero on this one. I surely hope so. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This is where I say I'm a 10 out of 10 for this one. For all the reasons that I talked about at the beginning of the show. Just I don't think I'm going to love the match because it's like going to be Roman, talking and all that sort of stuff. But Cody's just magnetic on WWE. He's just got this thing that so many other guys in that company don't have. The crowd is going to be fucking absurd for this match. And then I'm just fascinated to see how it ends. I'm fascinated to see, do they have the balls to just go with it and just say, you know what? Yeah, Cody, he's our guy. He beats Roman. Roman's reign is over, or do they overthink it? Are they tossing and turning it? I don't know. There's so many different ways that this can go. Or maybe, again, like it can go a bunch of different ways, or they can just do the smart thing. They can just do the smart thing, and Cody just pins him 1, 2, 3 and ends it. But I don't know. No matter what, I'm fascinated to see how it goes. So I'm a 10 out of 10 for this match.
9. Yeah, I'm at a 9. I think they're going to have a great match. I know Roman Reigns, like if you look, he doesn't have great matches at WrestleMania. Like if you really...
Oh, far from it. He's had one really good match at WrestleMania and pretty much none since then.
Which one are you counting? The Brock match where Seth ran in?
The Brock match, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like just a one-sided beatdown that was compelling for that reason. Right, and then,
that was the Suplex City bitch and all that sort of stuff that people do kind of forget. That match was really just Brock taking it to Roman almost the entire match, but Roman was good in it, and so I got to call.
It was a great match.
I got to call. If he was a part of a great match, no matter what, you know what I mean? Like that. But
no, he was great in that match.
Yeah.
He sold his ass off, and it was compelling, and Brock was awesome. He really doesn't have another great WrestleMania match.
No, he's had more bad ones. Honestly, that Undertaker match is one of my least favorite matches of all time. That one where
terrible match.
he just beat on the Undertaker for fucking 45 minutes and beat him, and it's like, all right, cool. Okay. Nice job beating the old grandpa up for 30 minutes. That was cool. The match with Triple H was dog shit. The New Orleans one, I don't think that was any good, right? The New Orleans Brock versus Roman. I don't remember. Brock versus Roman in New Orleans. That was the one where everybody thought Roman was going to beat him, and Brock just won. I seem to remember that not being very good.
I don't really remember much about it.
WrestleMania 35, he beat Drew McIntyre.
No, that was like okay.
Yeah. They had kind of downcycled him for a little bit, and then that was during the brief. Like
he doesn't have great. The point here is he doesn't have this great resume of WrestleMania matches. He doesn't, and this title reign hasn't had great matches. I've talked about that a million times. It's the most overrated title reign from that standpoint. People who love this title reign just love this hokey television stuff where they fucking talk to each other. They don't, it's not the matches or anything like that. I think they're gonna have a great match though. I do, and I think Cody's gonna win. And I think the fireworks and all are gonna go off, and it's gonna be a big fuck you to Tony Khan and AEW from both Cody and the WWE. And it's going to, be something that truly does feel special. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. And this goes back to what we talked about when Cody first entered the company last year. And I've seen a lot of people say, oh, that you think Vince McMahon and Paul are going to put over AEW. Yeah, because it makes so much sense to do it. Because he's not an AEW guy anymore. He's your guy. You know what I mean? He's winning your title. He never won AEW's title. He's winning your top title. And all that says and we said it exactly at the time too, all that says is for anybody into AEW that's even thinking about going there, just know that Cody went there and they let him main event WrestleMania and win the title and let off 20 straight minutes of fireworks or whatever. That will be in everyone's mind that I can be main eventing WrestleMania with 20 minutes straight of fireworks. And trust it, there is a generation of wrestling fans that we're starting to get there. There's starting to be these newer wrestlers that are coming in. Like your Max Casters have always kind of said, like, I really have no affinity for WWE whatsoever. I don't really care. And MJF sort of has said the same, but like there is still, most people want to main event WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like,
MJF's a big time WWE mark.
Oh, no, I know. He talks the talk that he's not, but like at the end of the day,
it's part of the act. It's part of the act too, but but he definitely is. Like he grew up loving WWE.
Right, like those bar mitzvah photos that he had. Remember, it was all about Maximania and all this sort of stuff. Like, they're less than there used to be. Like 10 years ago, every single person wanted to main event WrestleMania. There's probably
your overall point is correct. We have wrestlers now who are young enough where that's absolutely true.
That maybe main eventing WrestleMania isn't the biggest thing to them, but most of them, that is still the biggest thing to them. So if they see their old coworker winning the title with 20 minutes straight of fireworks going off, they want that. And when the time comes to sit down at a table, WWE can say, well, look what we did with Cody. They don't want to bury the guy. Like, will they? If they ultimately decide that they don't want to end this Roman thing, it's not going to be because this guy came from AEW. It's because of some other dumb fucking reason. You know what I mean? Like, because we both agree, like, anything that's not Cody winning this thing is dumb as fuck, right?
I can't wrap my head around any other scenario that makes sense.
It'd be indefensible because if it's not this guy in this match at this moment in front of this crowd with this story, then it's never. Who else are you gonna have?
Even short term.
Yeah.
Let alone maybe Solo Sikoa turning on him is long term. I don't know. I'm not sure Solo Sikoa can hold up that end.
No, I don't think so. I
even long, like right now he's definitely not ready, but even longer term, I watch him and I'm like, I don't know if he's a big time star. But even short term, what the fuck do you do? It's got to be Cody.
Yeah, if it's not this guy at this point now, then just fucking forget it. Then just say Roman Reigns is the eternal champion of the world. We're done. we're done. It's over.
I don't know what's more important to them: Roman breaking all of these like fake records, or some of them are uncatchable. I mean, what are you gonna have him hold the titles 8 years like Bruno did? I mean, you're not gonna catch some of these records anyway. So, Cody has to win. He's got to win. He has to win. I don't think anything else. I mean, it would be incredibly deflating if he didn't in all the wrong ways. I mean, and then again, you have nowhere else to go.
I've seen some people say you can have him lose here and then win in like Saudi Arabia or whatever. It's like, man, can you think of a worse? I mean, I cannot think of a worse possible thing than having the American nightmare, lose at WrestleMania and win in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? Like just the most.
Well, if he's gonna win, here's the thing: if he's gonna win the title, why not just do it here?
Right, I agree.
At WrestleMania,
right.
If he doesn't win here, then he just shouldn't win it.
There's no argument that I can hear for Cody not winning other than like we just want Roman to win all these dumb records or break all these dumb, worthless, meaningless records in a fake sport. That's it. Or that they don't, because if you don't think Cody's the guy in any way, shape, or form, that you don't think like it's one. I get like the Sammy thing. We said that was really fucking dumb, but I get it. They didn't want Sammy. They didn't want Sammy. Wasn't their guy. They didn't want to put Sammy on posters. They don't think Sammy's a great representation of the company. Whatever it may be. He looks like how he looks. And what more do you want out of fucking Cody? You know what I mean? Like that's a guy. So if it's not, that's what I mean. If it's not this guy, if it's not Cody at this time, then it's fucking nobody. There's nobody else in that roster. Nobody.
Yeah, they got nobody on the bench. They haven't.
Who's the next guy up? Who's the next guy up? In Paul Levesque.
Paul Levesque, the ace WB. Booker. Who has he warmed up? No one. Nobody. He's got nobody warmed up ready to step in. And you would think that WrestleMania we would know, well, Cody's going to win, and there's 2 or 3 guys who are going to win big matches on this show, and they're
right next. Yeah, they're right next in line. Cody's going to come out on that Raw, and now we know who's going to come out on Raw to challenge him.
There's nobody.
I think that must be Vince's fault, though. Paul had a very long list of guys, but then,
the guy's done a poor job. He's done a piss poor job booking this company. He's done a bad job.
He's got one really good story that I don't know.
That he didn't start.
He didn't start, and I don't know.
Now the house show business is still strong.
Yeah.
Based on that one story, really. I mean, and they had, and they've got Cody hot, but they've got. What's next? He has to win. I'm done talking about this.
Yeah, let's move on. I'm done. So that is WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Saturday and WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Sunday. We will be, of course, previewing those or reviewing those, I should say, this weekend over at flagshippatreon.com, patreon.com/voices of wrestling and voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon. All right.
So we already kind of buried the NXT, but let's run through the card. What's on this NXT show?
Okay. So we're running a little low on time, so I'm not going to play the Roxanne Perez promo package. So you'll just have to find it for yourself. But sorry. Chase U, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, and Thea Hale, and Tyler Bates. Yes. Versus Schism, Joe Gacy, Jagger Reed, Rip Fowler, and Ava. The winners gain control of Chase University.
Ava has no screen presence whatsoever.
No.
She is the polar opposite of her father, just none. She has no screen presence at all. So this old Chase U thing, the whole Duke Hudson story coming to a head here.
the whole Duke Hudson story, yes.
Oh, God, as
we all refer to it as the whole Duke Hudson story. Yes, as we all know.
Can we just move on? I can't.
Zero.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, why does the weird sex cult want to take control of Chase U?
Again, this is a porn that I'm sure I've seen.
Gallus, this is a triple threat tag team title match here. Yeah. Gallus defending the titles against the Creed brothers and the D'Angelo family, Tony D'Angelo, and the still without a Wikipedia page, Channing Stacks Lorenzo.
Well, you've been refreshing, waiting for a Wikipedia page.
Well, at some point, right? What is
22 Stacks the Dimes Lorenzo?
Yeah, what does Channing Stacks Lorenzo get a Wikipedia page? Come on. Guy's been on national TV for like 2 years now, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Well, they're going to be battling for the tag team titles. Zero. Fatal 5-way for the NXT North American Championship. Wes Lee, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and Axiom.
Yes, Dragon Lee making his debut.
Yep.
All right. They'll do a lot of flippy doos and a lot of crazy stuff.
I'm at about a 5 for this one because there's enough talented wrestlers in this match for me to.
Oh, we're still giving numbers.
I'm doing numbers. Yeah, I've been 0-0 for the first 2, and then I'm giving 5 for this one.
Yeah, I mean those are easy zeros. Easy zeros.
We won't do the 1 to 10 for Supercard of Honor. So
I'm kind of numb to these kind of matches, but it's Dragon Lee's debut, so we'll see.
Give him a try. Tag team titles, women's tag team titles: Fallon Henley and Kiana James versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn.
Sounds great. Can't wait, Rich.
Count me in.
Bart Scott can't wait.
Ladder match for the NXT women's title: Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, or whatever the fuck. Who cares? And Indy Hartwell.
They had to change her name. Remember, she was like Alfie or whatever the fuck it was.
Or whatever. We couldn't pronounce it, and everybody in Ireland made fun of us. So.
And it's like, and then it's like pronounced Linda. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it was
right. But this name, I have trouble with this name too.
Ayaofi. Hold on, let me. It's where's the pronunciation?
I gotta piss. So you can figure this out while I go pee.
Yeah, I'll figure this out.
Yeah, please give me a minute.
How to pronounce? Okay, it was spelled Aoife. Aoife is how you pronounce that. Aoife, I'm being told. But they changed it to more Americanize her there. But this is all very preposterous. Okay, they clearly had a change of plans somewhere midstream with Roxanne Perez, and again, this is more Vince McMahon anecdotal evidence. Were they calling her up? She showed up at the Royal Rumble. They took the title off her. They did the whole angle to get her out of there. Maybe there was a call up. Maybe Vince had something to do with this and decided he didn't want her called up. You could speculate all day long. Now it's not an injury. Now she's saying she has crippling anxiety. I am so sick of wrestling characters, especially baby faces that are built around their crippling anxiety. Enough of this. Okay. I grew up with a mother who had crippling anxiety for a large portion of her life, still to this day, didn't leave the house for years. I don't need the lowest form of entertainment, which is pro wrestling, trying to tell stories about people with crippling anxiety. I don't need it. And that's not me being offended or anything like that, because I happen to grow up with someone who struggled with that mightily. It's just, I don't need the worst and lowest form of entertainment to try to tackle these kinds of stories. And I
got to play the promo. I got to do it. People need to know. People need to listen to this. Give me a minute.
Okay, play the promo.
I think people need to hear it, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right, it's gonna play in a sec here. It's currently loading. Make sure I don't have any ads on this. Okay. Roxanne Perez returns to NXT to defend her title at Stand and Deliver. All right? Ready. Here we go.
Look, I know you're better physically, but mentally, you're just not sure. Roxanne, you're 21 years old. You've got a long, wonderful career ahead of you. Look, there's going to be other Stand and Delivers.
Will there be? I can't think like that. Did you think like that? WrestleMania was the most important night of the year for you. I know that you never had the mindset of, well, there's always next year. It was here and now, and you stole the show every time, and that's exactly what I want to do is Stand and Deliver. My anxiety is crippling, but I can't run away from it. I have to confront it. And the only way that I can do that is by facing it head on. The only way that I can win this battle is by climbing that ladder, retrieving my title, a title that I never lost. So please, please let me do this. Please let me do this for me and for everyone out there that struggles with what I struggle with, that they can overcome it. They don't have to be a prisoner of this. Please, please.
I want tests. All right, I want a meeting with the doctors, and I want you to get follow-ups and stuff like that, okay?
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
You deserve the right to defend your championship, Stand and Deliver. You're in the match, okay?
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will get everything for you. Everything. I'll get it for you. I
okay,
promise.
look, you're gonna give me a nervous breakdown, okay? Roxanne, you can beat this. Good luck.
Thank you, Sean.
brutal. Fucking terrible. And like you said, yeah, I don't know that I necessarily need like the worst form of art ever, NXT 2.5 or whatever the fuck that we're calling this NXT, to be tackling like people with crippling anxiety. And Shawn Michaels saying, you're gonna beat this, Roxanne, you're gonna beat this.
I like when he's like, I want tests done and stuff. And stuff. Yeah, look, and it's clear that they changed this midstream. Like, first it was an injury angle.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's some kind of mental health fucking bullshit. Like, and now, is she the champion? Is she not the champion? I'm not even sure. Is she the champion?
She is. Yeah, they have now declared that she is going to be defending the title again, and that's why I mentioned. I cut the video off there, but if you want to watch the video, they go to the NXT whatever they're calling the arena or whatever, and all the other participants are in the ring. And if you notice, a few of them are pointing to things, and I am positive that when they filmed Zoe Stark and Gigi Dolan and Stratton and Leah or Lyra and Indy, that they were probably hanging the title from the roof to say, hey, we're going to have a ladder match because, WWE subtlety hammer. So everybody had to kind of point and go, yeah, I'm going to climb a ladder and grab that. But they had to retcon that because now Roxanne's defending the title instead of it being for the vacant title because it was vacated and now she's defending it again. Dude, I have no fucking idea. What are we doing? Figure this out, man. What the hell?
I was saying when you were going to the bathroom, it's clear that this was not the plan. They just changed plans at the last second. And then there's also the factor of it's very clear that wasn't actually Shawn Michaels in the shot. It's just such a mess. And it stinks. It all stinks. And the way they tell their stories in NXT is awful. But we went over that in the first hour. I mean, it's just really, really bad. This is one of the worst things they've ever done. This is just irredeemably terrible. And it's just a big old mess. And Toxic Attraction 3 is going to get involved in this match somehow to screw Dolan. And I don't know. We'll see. Are we going to have some big dramatic moment where Roxanne Perez is trying to overcome her anxiety in the middle of the match?
Thing too. It's just like,
I don't need that.
No, you're trying to tackle like a very big thing. And it's like, I'm going to do that for everybody who struggles with the same thing that I struggle with. And it's like,
oh, right. God, it's just going to be so...
It's just wrestling. I just want to watch wrestling. Can I just have a woman say, you know what? I want to beat you and win the fucking title to prove I'm the best woman in this company.
It's you're going to try to tell that kind of story. First of all, in pro wrestling is bad enough. But then in the least subtle and most egregiously awful pro wrestling that there is, NXT is where we're going to do this. Where it's going to be so over the top and dramatized and oh, man,
tests and stuff.
You know where this is going, and it's nowhere good.
No. Oh, you could do it, but you need tests and stuff as the fake crowd goes, yeah. Did you hear that? They have fake crowd noise in the back, too, cheering to Shawn Michaels, saying, all right, you can do it, but you got to do tests and stuff.
Yeah.
You got to do the thing where they put the ink plots on the paper, and you have to say what you think it is. Like, all right, can you do that for me?
So is this officially like a mental health story, or is she
no, we're there.
What's
I think we're there.
Deal?
I thought it was concussion, and then it was a non-injury or something. I don't know, dude. I have no idea.
Yeah, she put out the tweet. She's like, she put out a tweet that was like, "You are not alone." She said at the end of the tweet. So I think they're going full head of steam with this like crippling anxiety thing, as opposed to the injury or was it the beatdown that gave her the anxiety? Rich, I don't give a fuck. Can we just move on?
At some point in this, she had a match with Miko Satomura that lasted like 15 minutes, and then she passed out at the end. So then people were like, well, is she actually hurt or whatever? And then everyone's like, no, she's not actually hurt or whatever. But then they vacated the title, and it's like, okay. And then she's back, but she has crippling anxiety.
Why isn't Miko Satomura the champion?
Yeah, she should have been the champion. She beat her ass. She beat her ass and made her pass out. I'm giving her the title.
Can she just come in and beat up all of these people and just win the match? Because, can she just enter it like Brock did the Money in the Bank that one year and just beat everybody up and win?
He walked in, he was like, I'm in this. And they're like, no, you're not. And he's like, well, you going to tell me I'm not? And they're like, I guess not. Ring the bell. That was great. Enjoyed that.
What else we got on this dopey NXT show?
We got Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller in an unsanctioned match. And it wasn't enough that...
great.
Which they had the story. And this is what we're talking about with NXT 2 point, whatever the fuck it is. The story is already made. You have Johnny Gargano returning to NXT. When he left NXT and did his heartfelt goodbye, Grayson Waller beat his ass. Johnny Gargano's back. right? We're done, right? We got it.
That's right.
Grayson Waller wants to prove that he's now the star of NXT, and Johnny Gargano's old news. The end. We're done. No, we got to do home invasions. We got to have somebody invading someone's home. It's not a story. We're not telling stories unless someone's invading someone's house. So you have Grayson Waller invading Johnny Gargano's house. What are we doing here? Come on. Ridiculous.
We're doing horse shit.
Horse shit.
I mean, but and again, Gargano was never going to get pushed on the main roster. Even with Levesque there, it was obvious. When Vince really was gone, it was obvious that Levesque was never going to push him on the main roster for whatever reason. So I don't know. He's back in high school. I don't know what to say here.
Yeah, but, not good. Not good things for him. And then finally, Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes to the NXT title. Do you do the switch now? Does Carmelo get the win, or are you not ready just yet?
I don't know. Rich, I don't give a shit. How about that for an answer? I don't care what they do here. I want them to just call both of these guys up already so we can watch them fail on the main roster and get it over with. And I don't know. I don't really care. I'm done with Braun Breaker because he never gets any better. Like, it's the same shit every time with this guy. I don't see any improvements. Maybe that's being unfair. But I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you that I'm champing at the bit waiting to see that, because I'm not. NXT is just, it's just the worst that pro wrestling has to offer today. I hate it so much that I don't have the vocabulary to express how much I loathe everything about NXT. It is the antithesis of anything that I want ever in pro wrestling. I mean, short of like Lucha Underground or something where it's just fantasy shit. But it's like almost as bad. Like it's right there. It's neck and neck.
Oh, it's totally divorced from reality. It's a wrestling show that's supposed to happen in the real world, which at least you can give Lucha Underground a little bit of a leeway because it was like supposed to happen in this weird universe. This is supposed to be the real world, but all these people don't act like humans.
Nah, they're all
terrible. Move on.
They're all cartoonish, like cartoon character-y kind of. It's just junk. Again, if this is the future of the company, I really will finally cut all ties.
Yeah. I can't do this either. This is that's a bridge too far for sure. But let's talk about a show that I think you and I are both very, very excited about coming up Friday. Again, we'll have an instant reaction live immediately following this show on Friday, March 31st, and it's Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor. And Joe, we got a brand new match just added today. Are you okay with me spoiling that? It's official. It's been locked in. It's ready to go. You ready?
Yeah, let's go. What are these matches?
We got Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Daniel Garcia.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to sell some pay-per-views.
That is going to sell some pay-per-views.
And they're going to have to, because they have not pushed this pay-per-view on TV at all. I haven't seen tonight's Dynamite. So maybe, with the disclaimer that I haven't seen tonight's Dynamite. But there's been no ROH presence on Dynamite or Rampage. And really, with the exception of Commander and Vikingo having television matches over the last couple of weeks and then putting them in a match together, there's been nothing on TV. So you're really just selling this pay-per-view to the 12,000 people who subscribe to Honor Club. And as we know, I mean, that's not going to cut it. You were selling these pay-per-views to the million people that were watching, the million plus people that are seeing Dynamite every week previously, which is why they did nice little buy rates and record business for ROH. Now you're trying to sell pay-per-views to the 12,000 people watching this taped show every Thursday night. Okay? So you were going to need stuff like Vikingo versus Commander and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Daniel Garcia to drum up some interest among the hardcore wrestling fan who may have watched the other ROH pay-per-views, but were kind of on the fence or weren't going to buy this one because they're not Honor Club subscribers. Well, now you're getting people's attention. And it's very clear what they're doing here is chasing the hardcore fan. And this is an interesting experiment to see if an ROH pay-per-view without television exposure on Dynamite, depending, even if they did stuff this week, it's still only 1 week's worth, where in the past it was a whole pay-per-view build's worth.
Right, much to the chagrin of a lot of people there's too much ROH, too much ROH, too much ROH. But the proof is in the pudding. They sold a bunch of fucking pay-per-views because of it.
Right, and now we're going to see if they could sell pay-per-views based on buzzworthy matches and the few thousand people that are watching the weekly TV. And the weekly TV has no buzz. I don't care what you think of the shows. I'm kind of down on it. I don't look forward to it. I don't think it's that good. Maybe because it's taped, maybe because they're so fucking long, maybe because the format. I don't know what it is. I can't get into the ROH TV, but some people really, have enjoyed it. But the fact is, it has no buzz. Anyone who tells you that show has buzz, no one's talking about it on Thursday nights or Friday mornings. And, and we're going to see, can you sell a pay-per-view with, a internet streamed taped show that less than 10,000 people, less than 12,000 people are watching on a week in, week out basis, just on the basis of buzzworthy matches. We're going to find out. This is an experiment, and I want to see how it plays out.
Definitely. We got for the ROH World Title. This will be the main event here. Claudio versus Eddie Kingston. They've done really good video packages with this. They've done really good sit down interviews or whatever. It's an experiment in how much YouTube and social media and stuff can build a pay-per-view, because you don't know what these guys. I mean, on normal TV, Claudio Castagnoli is part of the Blackpool Combat Club, going out there doing stuff. Again, have not seen Dynamite, so again, we could be completely off base if they did a bunch of stuff on Dynamite. But as far as I've seen, all this has been built, via other means, and it's been built well. But is it built enough for people to buy it in mass? And that's what we're going to find out. I mean, I'm excited for it because I know the background of these two guys, and I've liked everything they've done to kind of build that match up. But I don't know if that's going to hit enough people to separate them from their $40 or whatever the pay-per-view is.
I mean, the show looks great on paper, and the previous ROH pay-per-views have been great. So it's the show I'm looking forward to most, WrestleMania weekend, which isn't exactly clear in high bars, because I think the weekend stinks personally. There's not a lot there to sink my teeth into, but yeah, now, this match, is that the only match they added tonight, or did they have something else?
That is it. Did you know about the Wheeler Yuta Katsuyori Shibata match, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they announced that earlier in the week, but that's for the pure title. That's another one. Otherwise, the rest of the card, pretty much the same. The Reach for the Sky ladder match for the vacant ROH World Tag Team title. Lucha Brothers versus Top Flight versus Kingdom versus Aussie Open versus Rush and Juralistico. Ingobernables there. That's pretty cool. The Embassy, Brian Cage. Oh, I guess they made this official. Brian Cage, Khan, and Toa Leona versus AR Fox, Blake Christian, and Metalik. They made it official earlier in the week, but for the 6-man titles, Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe for the ROH World TV title, Athena versus Yuka Sakazaki for the ROH Women's title, and then, of course, Vikingo versus Commander for the AAA Mega Championship as well.
Why did I think it was Athena versus Emi Sakura?
I don't know.
Okay. It's the magical girl?
It is the magical girl, Yuka Sakazaki, yep.
Well, all right.
Sorry.
No, I mean, the card looks really good, and I'm sure it's going to be really good. So, definitely looking forward to it, and super curious how it does in terms of business. And I know they were inching up towards a sellout too, so we'll have to see if they.
Yeah, I didn't do the latest check on that, so I'm not exactly sure where they're at with that. But no, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun as hell show. So we're gonna do instant reaction for that live Friday again. FlagshipPatreon.com, $10 tier, Patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling. For that. So elsewhere on the weekend, we'll kind of run that down over the next couple of minutes here on the show as we bid you adieu and get ready for our hours upon hours and shows upon shows of watching wrestling and recording audio about wrestling. But elsewhere on the weekend, Wednesday, we're recording this on a Wednesday. There's really nothing going on, nothing that's streaming. Pandemonium Pro Wrestling. Looks like they got a decent crowd for Pandemonium, so it speaks to my point of run a Wednesday show on at night. Don't run it in the afternoon. And then the other shows, we'll see about Violence and Suffering and Relentless Wrestling or whatever. But things kick off proper Thursday, March 30th. Crimson Crown Wrestling at 11 a.m. and also the Santino Brothers Wrestling at 11 a.m. And that is going to be the first show that's available on Fight Plus. Now, I talked about this a lot on my previews, but for those that haven't listened to those and only listened to the Flagship, prior years, you used to have to buy the $180 package or pick and choose what shows you wanted to see. Anything that's going to be on Fight Plus, and I'll note what's going to be on Fight Plus moving forward. Anything that's on Fight Plus, if you go to voiceswrestling.com/fight and subscribe for $7.99, you get all of those shows. No additional. We talked about earlier how all these streaming services are going away from that. Fight is going back to the old style and saying, fuck it, get everything for $7.99. I don't know if it's going to work out. It's probably not going to make financial sense, but that's fine. That's not our problem. That's their problem. $7.99. voicesofwrestling.com/fight. Everything that's on Fight Plus, you're going to be able to get for that fee. High Spots TV, very similar. Not as many shows on High Spots, but that's $14.99 a month, so you're going to be able to get all of those shows. And Circle 6, just don't have to say it every single time. Circle 6, all their stuff is going to be streaming for free on YouTube and their Facebook page. And they said Twitch, but last time they were on Twitch, they got banned. So given what some of these shows look like, I tend to think they're probably going to get banned again. So probably just go to YouTube. YouTube's probably safe for that. So those are all the major streaming ones. And there's a few pay-per-views that are streaming outside of Fight Plus where you can buy them on Fight. And I'll try to mention that moving forward too, so just so people are aware. But if you're getting on Fight Plus, Santino Brothers Wrestling, California Love, 11 a.m. Pacific, that kicks you off on Thursday in terms of the streaming stuff. And then Circle 6 has 2 shows at 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Pacific. Circle 6, Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? And Circle 6, Lindsay Snow's Kaiju Cannabis Cup. Excited for you to break those down on your wrap-up shows. But then the real business end of the weekend starts at 4 p.m. Pacific. And like you said, of course, there's 77 shows this weekend. And the 2 shows that I'm looking forward to most on Thursday and most pretty much until Ring of Honor are both at exactly the same time. The WrestleCon Mark Hitchcock Memorial Supershow is at 4 p.m. And Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 9 also at 4 p.m.
So what's the new card for the Hitchcock show?
So that card has been decimated. Yeah, that card has been absolutely decimated. Let me give you what I have as the latest for that card, but again has been absolutely destroyed. Make sure I got it all here. So I think it is now officially Vikingo, Black Taurus, and Commander for the mega title. So you're getting a little bit of a preview for Ring of Honor there with Black Taurus instead. Eerie Eve versus Mike Bailey. Ultimo Dragon versus Negro Casas. Brian Keith and Kenta versus TBD and Tom Lawler. Michael Oku versus Blake Christian. Arez, Laredo Kid, and Latigo. So Toxin, unfortunately, had a detached retina or something like that, which sucks because I thought this was going to be a huge weekend for Toxin and Latigo because Vikingo's graduated now. You know what I mean? Vikingo and Commander, they've graduated. Now everybody knows about them. They've been on TV. It's time for those next wave of guys that are going to blow your mind. And that's Toxin and Latigo, who've been doing that for a couple years, but I don't think like your normal wrestling fan or your semi-hardcore wrestling fan really knew about those guys. This is going to be that weekend for them. Unfortunately, Toxin's going to miss it. He's still like 20 years old, so it's not that big of a deal. But they're going to be in a 6-man against Aramis, Galeno Del Mal, and Ray Horus. And then 6-man tags, United Empire, Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis versus Time Machine, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, and Kushida. And then a very bizarre Tokyo Joshi Pro 10-woman tag match where nobody is announced. I'm guessing whoever gets to Los Angeles in time is being told you're in the 10-woman tag. So get out there because I don't know. They are not announcing any names. So I think it's just, hey, travel. Who the fuck knows? Whoever gets there and arrives, we're going to put them on the show type of thing. So there you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on this. Blake Christian replaced Will Ospreay didn't have a match announced, but he was going to be on the show. Blake and Davey Richards is out of the Tom Lawler tag.
Yeah.
Blake Christian replaced Josh Alexander maybe in the Oku match? Is that who it was?
Yes, I think that's right. Yes.
This show lost Will Ospreay, Josh Alexander, and Davey Richards.
Yeah.
Or Leo Rush maybe. Well, maybe it was Leo Rush.
I don't think Leo was announced for this one, no.
He wasn't booked on the show. Okay, so they lost 3 of the best wrestlers on the card. And it still looks like a really good show. This is my second most anticipated show behind the Ring of Honor show.
Yeah, these WrestleCon,
it looks like a really strong show,
and they're always like serious. You know what I mean? They're not bullshit. It's just a wrestling show. You know what I mean? They're not up their own ass. It's
a showcase of the hottest unsigned wrestlers, basically every year. So it should be good.
Yeah, I'm always looking forward to those. Was happy to go to one live as well. I really enjoyed it. But and then Bloodsport, of course, at the same time. Kota Ibushi, Mike Bailey, one of your big matches there. They lost a little talent as well, but I think they recovered pretty well. Jon Moxley versus Alex Coughlin. Josh Barnett versus Timothy Thatcher, which, oh God, I'm already not looking forward to that. So I don't know. There's definitely been better Bloodsports, but Bloodsport's pretty damn good. So I don't know. I'm still excited about it, even if it's not like, has me super, super hyped up. I think if I had to choose, I'd go Super Show. I'd go Hitchcock Super Show over Bloodsport this year.
Yeah, Bloodsport's very much hit or miss for me, but mostly miss. I haven't enjoyed a Bloodsport top to bottom in a while.
I think we're really just chasing that high of that first one for a while now, and it has never lived up to that first one.
The first couple, yeah, because even the Riddle one was a lot of fun, and then the first. Which first one are you talking about?
I was talking about the first Riddle one. The first Riddle one, I think, was the best of them all. That was just
so much fun.
Fun. Like I said it in a preview that I did with Jeremy Sexton, and we've said it a couple years now. Like that one was so cool because it was like wrestlers in unfamiliar territory. What are they going to do? Put them in a ring, take away the ropes. What are they going to do? And some guys wrestled, some guys fought, some guys grappled, some guys did strikes. Like it was that. It was like, here are pro wrestlers in a non-pro wrestling atmosphere. How do they adapt to this? And that was cool.
Yeah. Some of these Barnett shows get a little too far up their own ass.
And that's the problem. Now we have like these pseudo MMA guys that are out here rolling, and it's like, you own a gi. I get it, man. Like, this isn't entertaining. Yeah. Like, let's get entertaining. Like, you're just rolling around doing your fucking, strip mall MMA routine. Like, I'm good, man. I got it. Like, this isn't very fun,
Yeah. So then there's 3 more Circle 6 shows. The Circle 6 shows are each hour.
Yes.
Okay. So then there's 3 more Circle 6 shows. The DDT show, which is going head to head with New Japan and Impact. I'm going to watch New Japan and Impact. Rich you're going to watch the DDT show.
Yeah, you got me on the DDT. That's fine. I'll do that one. Yeah.
You want to do that, and then what's the main event of the I'm not into DDT at all, but what's the main event?
The main event actually. So I think the card itself is pretty decent in terms of like the business end of the show. Which is usually the case with DDT, but you're going to get mad because it's like always the same names. It's Takeshita versus Yuki Ueno is your main event.
Yeah, there. And if you tell me, and look, that match is probably going to be great and one of the best matches of the weekend, and I fully expect you to tell me that I have to watch it, and I'm going to watch it. But
there's also Endo versus Janela. There's Endo versus Janela, which will be pretty good. The problem, though, is that, you have, Dino versus Shinshiro Takagi and Michael Nakazawa. There's a lot of shit that I wish I could skip, but I'm pot committed at this point, so I'll be watching DDT Goes to Hollywood. So.
All right, so what's the new card for New Japan and Impact? Because that obviously
that show's been absolutely just fucking decimated by the injuries. They have had perhaps the worst luck of anybody in terms of this stuff. So they are now Kushida and Lio Rush, which can we talk about Lio Rush? And what he did this week.
This guy's great.
This is the all-time. This guy deserves a lot of love for what he did here. Potential scorn, but I think love because I think it's just great carny bullshit. So Lio Rush was announced for the Culture, GCW Emo Fight, and I want to say one other show, but definitely those two. Emo Fight and For the Culture. Earlier this week, he goes, I'm hurt. Can't make the bookings. And they go, okay, no problem. Thank you for letting us know. And they replace him on both the shows. And then on Tuesday, New Japan says, newly match signed for Multiverse United, Kushida versus Lio Rush. And it's like, he healed up very quickly. He was like, I can't do these bad bookings. You know what? The elbow feels okay. Yeah, I'm okay if you guys want to book me for this New Japan Impact Wrestling show at the Globe Theater as opposed to these random shows at fucking 3 a.m. in the Ukrainian Cultural Center or whatever. You know what I mean? Like a complete 180. I can't.
It's the Lio Rush experience.
Yeah, man. It is Lio Rush to a T. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. Oh, Kushida? Yeah, I'm all right. I can work that. It's good stuff. So, Kushida versus Lio Rush, Alex Coughlin, Callahan, Fred Rosser, and PCO versus Team Filthy, J.R. Curtis and Tom Lawler, Eddie Edwards, and Joe Hendry. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Mike Bailey. Of course, this is going to be Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey. Sucks that we don't get that, but Tanahashi's a decent replacement there. Jeff Cobb versus Moose. Trey Miguel defending the Impact X Division title against Rocky Romero, Frankie Kazarian, Rich Swann, Clark Connors, and Kevin Knight. Impact World Tag Team titles, the Bullet Club of Ace Austin and Chris Bay versus Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Motor City Machine Guns. Aussie Open again, Fletcher and Davis, and then TMDK, Bad Dude Tito and Shane Haste. New Japan Strong Openweight title, Kenta versus Minoru Suzuki. And then a women's match, Miyu Yamashita, Diana Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, and Masha Slamovich in a 4-way.
See, I don't think this card looks that good. I mean,
I think it looked good when Will and Mike Bailey was there, and you were like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
like,
that was arguably the best match of the whole week.
Yes,
of course,
but I kind of am with you. When we were going through this in the previews, I got done with it, and I was like, you know what? I am not that excited about this show. I thought I was, but I guess I'm not, because it feels like it would be better.
There's definitely some nice looking matches on that show, and a couple of the others will probably over deliver. The rest of it looks like one of these Impact fucking
throw everybody on the card, lump everybody else in it. Yeah, too many multi-persons. Just give us some singles matches, man.
But I mean, it'll be a perfectly acceptable show that'll probably end up being pretty good, and I would rather watch that than the undercard stuff on the DDT show, which is only going to annoy me. And I know I'm not going to like that because it's just not for me. I'd rather watch a bang average Impact show than watch the DDT stuff, and then I could just catch the DDT recommendations from you later on. So then there's another Circle 6 show, and then the night finishes up with For the Culture at 3 a.m. Eastern. Run through that For the Culture card?
It's not good this year. It's really bad, and it seems like it's just not. It used to have a lot of attention on it, and people used to really care, and it feels like they don't. So I don't know if this is fully updated, because I do think that as the show was going on, somebody sent me a message that this has been changed. So I don't know. I'll try to figure out what that change was. Something changed, but I'll give you the big matches that I know are still there. Willie Mack versus Billy Dixon, Too Cold Scorpio versus Brian Keith, Trish Adora defending the Pan-African Diaspora Wrestling World title versus Calvin Tankman. So we're doing a intergender there.
Wow.
Yeah. The 7-Way Scramble has a bunch of people, but I want to say that's been changed. I think that's the match that's been changed, so sorry. And then like AC Max just in a random tag match or whatever. It's not good. It's a bad show this year. It's
none of those matches you named are doing anything.
No, Too Cold Scorpio and Brian Keith maybe, but I'm not that interested in seeing Scorpio anymore.
Yeah, but the Too Cold thing, man, no one was a bigger Too Cold fan than me.
But that was in 1996, Joe. Like we're past that.
Less said, the better. I'm over the Too Cold nostalgia thing, though. I'm over it. The intergender match can kick rocks. What was the main event? What did you say the main event was again?
I don't know what the main event is. I don't know if it's Willie Mack versus Billy Dixon or the.
Okay, all right, maybe that's not the main event, but Billy Dixon does nothing for me whatsoever.
Well, I believe he's the one booking this year, so I think that's probably who you could blame.
Yeah,
for
because AJ Gray's out of the picture. Yeah. AJ Gray is with Circle 6 now. So, I don't know, that's not looking too promising on paper, but it's a standalone show in the middle of the night, and I'm going to be all over it because it's live wrestling, standalone by itself, full attention, and we're getting after it this weekend, Rich. We're getting after it.
Absolutely, yeah. Cover it all. Friday, things kick off bright and early, 11 a.m. Jimmy Lloyd's G-Generation F. You got Tokyo Joshi Pro live in Los Angeles. That's at 12 p.m. You have a trio of Circle 6 shows. Jake Chris Firestarters, Zachary Wentz's Treehouse of Dreams, and AJ Gray's Power Hour. I will tell you, AJ Gray's Power Hour.
The AJ Gray show doesn't look that bad.
That looks real good. That's a Beef Boy show. That's a meat men slapping meat. Yeah, it is.
Give people the 3 matches.
That's a show to definitely circle there. It's Calvin Tankman versus Juicy Finau, which isn't great because Juicy kind of stinks. But
Juicy stinks. Yeah,
Juicy stinks, but Tankman's good. Big Damo versus Jacob Fatu, which just inject that into my fucking veins, man.
That could be awesome.
And then Jake something versus AJ Gray, which sounds pretty good too. So that's a good show. That's a one to watch.
2 of the 3 look good. And the deal with these Circle 6 shows is they're an hour. You're in and out, 3 matches. That one, though, I remembered on paper looking good, and I remembered correctly. I am going to watch those 3 Circle 6 shows instead of the Tokyo. I don't care what Rex you give. Are you watching Tokyo Joshi, bro?
I guess I have to. Yeah, I will.
Don't give me any Rex because I'm not going to watch it. I cannot stand it.
What if it's you know me? I don't steer you wrong all that much. Are you still telling me? Even if I say, Joe, I promise you're not going to do it.
No, the Stardom I will do. I'll watch. The only reason I don't watch Stardom is because I don't have time in my life to learn all these another promotion and with more storylines but I enjoy every Stardom match you recommend to me. Have you ever given me a Stardom rec and I was like, oh, Rich, that sucked?
That's why I say. That's when people were like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, no, I know how to filter it to Joe. But Tokyo Joshi Pro, I know, because a lot of princesses, a lot of skirts. Yeah, it's not exactly.
It's a bridge too far. I know I'm never, ever going to like these 90-pound girls wearing skirts, screaming at each other. Some of them have tails. Rich, I cannot fucking do it. It's garbage. I can't get into it. I can't take it seriously. They're all doing meteoras to each other over and over. I can't deal with it.
That's all right. Yeah, it's fine. But then we things get cooking really at 4 p.m. Obviously, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. for us. It's Supercard of Honor. So we'll talk about that show. Obviously, do the instant reaction for that.
That DDT versus Game Changer show looks abysmal.
Oh, so bad. I couldn't book a worse show if I tried. How to use everybody on the roster to their least amount of value is how I'd book the show that they booked. Terrible. I don't want to watch that one. I'm probably going to skip that one. I can't lie. I think I'll get my fix of DDT the day prior, and I do not think I can handle that match. But Supercard of Honor, I can't handle and will handle, so we'll watch that one. Prestige Wrestling has their Nervous Breakdown show, which actually looks pretty good. Prestige puts on a decent product, so that one is on High Spot, so that might be a later in the day watch because it's up against.
So if you subscribe to High Spot, you're going to get the Mark Hitchcock Memorial, and you're going to get the Prestige show.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, Prestige, the worst time slot possible up against Ring of Honor. Like, you're just going to get decimated. But good for them. And then they're also up against SmackDown, which is going on as well. SmackDown in the WWE Hall of Fame, which I couldn't possibly care less. We're not going to watch that or review that.
Yeah, Prestige, absolutely buried. And if you want to throw it in, they're going up against the No Peace Underground Deathmatch show on the C6 YouTube channel. Channel. So there's a lot going on in that little time frame there.
Friday around 6 to 7. There's a fuck ton going on. That's a big night.
I'll tell you what, though, the No Peace Underground does appeal to a different kind of crowd than the rest of that stuff. Then like WWE fans aren't going to be locked into the No Peace Underground.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
And the Ring of Honor, the people who want to watch Ring of Honor aren't going to care about SmackDown or No Peace Underground. You know what I mean? So it's like Prestige is really the one that gets screwed because all those other shows have their own distinct crowd.
Right, and they don't fit like any niche. Like, what's the niche that's like, no, I'm a Prestige Wrestling guy. Like, other than people that just really like Prestige Wrestling, it's just another indie show on the schedule. But kind of stinks for them. But bad time slot. Maybe they picked that time slot. We're like, we'll be good. And then all these other shows came. And it's like, oh shit. And then Friday night, the big show there is going to be Joey Janela's Spring Break 7. That is at 8 p.m. Pacific. Although I will say this year's card's still kind of coming together, which isn't great because you got Kota Ibushi and Joey Janela, which I love. Joey Janela was like, fuck it, I'm taking Ibushi this time. Like that he literally tweeted like, no more Mr. Nice Guy, I'm taking the good match. So he's taking Kota Ibushi. You got Mike Bailey versus Vikingo, which at this point Vikingo is probably going to be very tired because he's just had the match with Commander, so I'm a little worried about that. Motor City Machine Guns, Shelley and Sabin versus the East West Express of Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne. And then they booked Maki Ito and Nick Gage in an open challenge and then declared the open challenge was going to be Bussy.
Yeah, no thanks. The rest of the announced stuff looks okay, and I don't think they're doing a clusterfuck. So
they're not doing a clusterfuck. They are doing a brass ring ladder chair match, but they haven't announced who's in it. So
right. I think
you might want to announce that before people are getting in town, but you do you all, whatever.
Nah, Spring Break's going to sell their tickets, and they needed a change. So getting rid of the clusterfuck, I think, is a good idea. That kind of wore out its welcome. So they'll do this other tongue-in-cheek gimmicky thing, and some of that stuff looks okay. So, it's standalone. Also, there's nothing else going on during that time period if you're home on your couch. So everyone's going to be locked in to the Janela Spring Break show.
Yeah, and that's gonna be on Fight Plus as well. So even if you subscribe for $7.99, you're gonna be able to watch it. So why the hell not? Just put it on.
It's crazy. I mean, it's the only show on. It's crazy. Like with all these shows, it's standalone. Well,
somehow
is it the only one airing?
So there's like,
only one airing.
Yeah, there's like Wrestle Pro Wrestling, Russell Crowe Wrestling, but nobody gives a shit about that. And there's new Fear City Murder Mania, but nobody really cares. And then Millennium Pro Wrestling's MPW Mania from the Wrestling Academy. But no, there's not even that many shows to attend. So it's like, if you're there in Los Angeles, you're either going out to eat or you're going to check out Janela's. You're going out to a bar or whatever. You're
You
going to
really
be pretty
got
late.
a great spot.
Yeah.
Got a great spot in terms of the pay-per-view and in terms of that's really a great spot to standalone. So.
And then Emo Fights concludes the night with Leo Rush no longer on the show. He is too hurt, but not hurt enough to face Kushida on the New Japan show. Otherwise, on the card, you have Jimmy Jacobs versus Kevin Blackwood. That's
an emo fight.
Yep.
That's an emo fight.
Mm-hmm.
So.
A concert by Wiccaface Springs Eternal as well.
Oh, friend of the show.
Exclusive notes. He's going to do maybe 2, maybe 3 songs. So
that's what you get from a friend of the show. You get exclusive notes. So.
Exactly. He doesn't know what's going on for the show just yet. So we'll see.
That and perfect performer for emo fight.
Right. And then things kind of fall off, believe it or not. I mean, people don't want to be anywhere near WrestleMania before, after, anything. So you got Saturday, April 1st, bright and early, Joe. Well, not bright and early. Not that bright and early for us, but bright and early if you're in Los Angeles. Can you imagine going to the Crypto.com arena at 10 a.m. for NXT Stand and Deliver?
Good God.
Chug your coffee, eat your fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch, that's WWE sponsored Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and drive over to the Crypto.com arena so you can get in there in time. Show kicks off at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That is wild.
To watch Roxanne Perez have a fake mental breakdown.
Right? I cannot wait for that. But it's on its own, so it's like, fuck, I gotta watch this, don't I? And I do, because there's nothing else going on. Saturday, April 1st at 11 a.m. you got Effie's Big Gay Brunch 6 in Los Angeles. That is on Fight Plus. And then WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Saturday. That is at kicking off 4:30 Pacific. We'll obviously do an instant reaction for that. What I do love, though, is after that show is concluded, GCW Gringo Locos The World on Lucha 2, which I think looks phenomenal. I think that looks like one of my favorite shows of the entire weekend. And last year's show I loved as well. Really excited to watch this one again this year. I think Gringo Locos doing a really, really cool job booking these shows. So, yeah, really, really cool stuff. Toxin is, of course, out, so I don't know if they've made a replacement as of this recording. I didn't see it, but it's Toro. It was supposed to be Toros, Latigo, and Toxin versus Aramis, Erez, and Commander, but obviously that's going to have to get changed. Psycho Clown versus Gringo Loco. Ciclope and Miedo Extremo versus Bestia 666 and Damien 666. I think the most underrated match of the entire Mania weekend. And I don't know if it's because people are just assuming Vikingo is going to be dead by this point, but Vikingo versus Laredo Kid on this show is my kind of shit, man. I love those two. And I know they've wrestled before, but this one I'm definitely excited about. Negro Casas versus Tony Deppen, and Sexy Star, not that Sexy Star, versus Dolce Tormenta. So
another standalone show, and it starts at midnight our time. So I'm just thinking, I'm hoping there'll be enough time to do our live instant reaction and then catch this show from the start.
Yeah, it might have to be on in the background. Yeah, it might have to be on in the background for the openers, but we'll see.
Well, let's see. If WrestleMania starts at 6:30, it's going to go 4 hours. That's 10:30. The Lucha show starts at midnight. We could squeeze, if we do a 90-minute instant reaction for WrestleMania, which is hard for us to do, 90 minutes.
But that show might stink, so there's a good. We might be able to get done in 90 minutes because that show just might suck. So,
we could just set hard outs for once and adhere to them.
It's not fun. Not gonna happen. We talk about the Reds. We talking about the bullpen. You're about the Reds bullpen and how you're worried about them, and I'll be mad.
I probably will be complaining because that'll be after game 2. Right. They'll probably blow it in the 8th. Brian Reynolds will hit a fucking double for the Pirates in the top of the 9th and put them up 4-3, and I'll be all annoyed.
My White Sox will be absolutely getting piss pounded by the Astros all weekend. So yeah, that show will go long.
So the Saturday roll up would be NXT, the Gay Brunch, and the Lucha show. If that'll be the Saturday wrap up show. In addition to if I think that one's very doable because the Lucha show will probably go about 2 hours, and I can record that baby at 2:30 or 3 a.m. This is psycho shit, but I'm ready for it. I'm fucking ready for it, Rich. Wall-to-wall audio.
That's going to be great.
I don't know who's going to be more tired, Vikingo's body or me watching all of this wrestling.
It's going to be neck and neck. It really is going to be neck and neck, man. Oh, my God, yeah. We'll see. But there's also Barroom Blitz from Circle 6, but I don't think that is on their YouTube. So that's at 11 p.m.
Why would they
Pacific.
Wait, so there's just one random show they're not.
Don't ask me.
YouTube?
You trying to ask me what Circle 6 is doing? I don't know. It might be so late. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. And then Sunday, 2 shows on Sunday. Only one streaming, though. So unless you're in Los Angeles, you're not going to be able to enjoy Second Wrestling's Mitzvah Mania, the all-Jewish wrestling show, which I love. Love. What I also love, too, is in our schedule page, at some point, the sorting got screwed up. So as far as I can see, Sunday, April 2nd, Second Wrestling Mitzvah Mania, 12:30 p.m. at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, which I love.
Yeah.
And then WrestleMania, unfortunately, night 1 will be at SoFi Stadium, but night 2 will be at Temple Beth Am in Los Angeles. So a more intimate a setting. You remember, what did they say for Money in the Bank? They said, we're going to go to the more intimate setting of the T-Mobile Arena or whatever, the MGM Grand Garden Arena. WrestleMania Goes Sunday is going to do that, or WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Sunday is going to do that, going to the Temple Beth Am for Cody versus Roman, which I appreciate.
WrestleMania at the Jewish Temple with the temporary wall separating the WrestleMania show from someone's bar mitzvah and then on the other side of the wall is what's happening there, while the Mitzvah Mania is taking place in SoFi in front of absolutely
70,000 people. But I do believe those are going to be switched. And I believe Mitzvah Mania will in fact be taking place from Temple Beth Am, and that WrestleMania, they're going to go back-to-back nights in SoFi Stadium. So again, not much on Sunday. It's streaming wise, only WrestleMania. So I've targeted that as like a time to maybe catch up on some stuff, and who knows, like if there's stuff that we've missed, I could watch, or you could watch, or we'll figure it out day of. But I keep an eye on Sunday because there might be some open time to do some stuff on Sunday. But of course, Sunday night, concluding it all, WrestleMania Goes Hollywood Sunday, instant reaction live, flagship patreon.com/voices of wrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/patreon, $10 tier for that. And again, you're going to want to listen to that one because that is Cody versus Roman. And no matter what happens, no matter what the result is, there will be plenty to talk about with that one.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. WrestleMania weekend. We're going to have you covered. We've already had you covered better than anybody else. If you're looking for a full schedule, we kind of ran it down there. But if you want an entire schedule of every single match that's going on, voicesofwrestling.com is we're going to be able to find that. We've had a bunch of previews. We've had written previews. I did 9 hours of audio previews about WrestleMania weekend. We're going to have reviews throughout the weekend as well at voicesofwrestling.com. In addition to the flagship stuff, like we said, you're definitely going to get, again, last plug here, you're going to get 3 guaranteed instant reactions. ROH, WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday. Along the way, you're going to get daily wrap-up shows up to or possibly more than 7 to 8. Or what's the up to we're at this point? Minimum, you're getting like 1 or 2, right? Minimum, you're getting 1 or 2. Maximum, you might get 7 additional shows with all. Or no, sorry, 7 including the 3, right? The 3 instant reactions.
We're doing 4. Yeah, we're doing 4 shows that are locked in.
Locked in.
What are you asking? Yeah, so there's 4 more.
Up to 7 possibly, depending on how things all shake out. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
It's a lot of audio. It's good stuff. But yeah, the nightly wrap up stuff, that'll be available on our $5 tier. But you're probably just going to want to get $10 to get those instant reactions. So come on, be smart about this. And all right, that I believe is it. So that has been another episode of the Flagship. Again, voicesofwrestling.com is going to have you covered all of this WrestleMania weekend, in addition to everything going up at flagship patreon.com, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/patreon. So get ready. It's the biggest wrestling weekend of the year, and we're going to cover it better than anybody else. We will see you throughout the weekend. Talk to you guys next time. That's Joe. I'm Rich. We're out. Flagship Podcast. Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the co-hosts of Jumping Bomb Audio, the podcast all about Joshi Pro Wrestling here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. Every other Monday, we are with you talking about the biggest news in Joshi, along with show reviews, previews, and much, much more.
So if you're new to Joshi or you've been a longtime fan, this is the show for you. We've got something for everyone here. So check us out, Jumping Bomb Audio.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.